whenever there's an episodic series, you can bet two men will talk to you. AJ Talon and Owen Finch give their thoughts on Owen and AJ Talks.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Owen and AJ Talks. I'm Owen Finch, and I'm here with
AJ Talon, and today that's right, we're on a roll. It's Yellowjackets Season 1, Episode 7.
I'm actually pretty excited. We've actually been on a roll with these videos. If the next 2 weeks ago was planned, this will be like the first time like we've planned videos, and they're gonna go exactly the way we want them to. There's like one video that we've planned that isn't anything Yellowjackets related, but if we don't get to it, I'm not going to complain about it, but I'm actually pretty happy that, like, we're actually doing good on the videos and stuff like that. So
I'm also glad I said, like, okay, let's buckle down and, like, not do any other videos. Let's, like, just do Yellowjackets until Season 1 is over. I think that was for the best, because we only got 3 more left, and then we're at the finale.
Yeah, and then, like, I'm ready to kind of go on to some other stuff. So, yeah, let's just kind of talk about the episode a little bit. So, this episode is called, No Compass. I was kind of wondering why that was called that, but it kind of makes more sense when you actually like watch the episode and everything like that. So because that's a big thing. I didn't really hit my mind until I saw the name again. And it was written
East?
by.
I thought you said Weast.
Yeah.
SpongeBob.
Good thing they weren't there. Or Patrick
I know,
wasn't
right?
there.
Imagine how different this episode would be if SpongeBob and Patrick.
Actually, that might have helped. That might have helped them based on what happened in the end of the episode. Actually, you don't know. So.
Oh yeah, true.
So yeah. This episode is written by Eva Sohag. I think we've seen her make an appearance before. It's weird. Her O. It's like an O with like a line through it. Does that mean something? Or like, am I missing something there? Like, it's like an O with a line through it on like the wiki and stuff. Or did someone just like kind of get creative there? I'm not really sure.
I think that means like it's like pronounced differently.
Oh, okay. Well, that's how I'm pronouncing it because like I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced. So, and it was it was directed by her, by the way, not written by. Sorry, I'm using like you can't do the wiki, and then it was written by Catherine Kearns. So great they don't have it. They don't have wikis. They don't get those. That's how great they are. So depending on how much you like this episode, though, that might be a good thing. So But yeah. So do you want to guess the air date?
Yeah. So it's funny because last time I guessed December 26th. And you said it was pretty close. I think it ended up being like the 19th.
Well, yeah, if you guessed it, I think I said this episode it was close. So
yeah, like the 26th was closer to this air date than last air date. I'm pretty sure this episode aired on the 23rd.
It was the 26th actually. So
wait, it was?
Yeah,
I must have mixed it. I thought I guessed the 26th.
Yeah.
So okay, I probably guessed the 23rd, and I thought I guessed damn it.
Well, I also read it as the 28th. And here's why. Because it kind of gets onto a big thing I'm going to talk about. I'm kind of surprised 26 is the air date because it's around Christmas time and everything like that. You would think they would wait,
Yeah,
or like
day after Christmas, yeah.
Or like, they would wait till like after New Year's is hit because like no one really watches TV much around that time unless it's like New Year's stuff. Because, they're spending time with their families when it comes to like holidays and New Year's stuff. It's kind of like the end of the year, so everyone's kind of like wrapping up. Some people also get like sick after the holidays too, by being around people, so no one's really kind of watching TV that much. So I'm kind of surprised that actually is like the air date. It's December 26th.
Dude, I'm glad I quit my job when I did because I would have had to work on Christmas.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm actually surprised. I wonder what the ratings and stuff were like during the episode. Like if it was like Astron, especially too because like they put this is actually a pretty big episode. So like I'm surprised they like aired this episode like here. Like obviously we've talked about this before. The pandemic kind of affected that too. Like obviously if there was no pandemic, they probably would have had this air date anyways, but like I'm surprised they still went with it considering like it was holidays and everything like that. So But yeah, I just want to make sure I mention. There's a couple behind the scene things I wanted to mention that I've been forgetting to mention the last few episodes that we've reviewed, so I want to make sure I just mention them now. One's on screen actually, but we didn't really mention it and didn't make a big deal. Last episode was the first time present day Natalie and present day Shauna like had screen time together. We didn't really mention that last time. I feel like we kind of,
Yeah, true.
Overall, I think because we saw them.
Well, it's also funny because they haven't really had any screen time in the past either.
Yeah.
Like they might have like said one or two things to each other, but they just like haven't interacted much like at all.
Yeah, but yeah, I like that they've had this screen time now. I think the characters play off each other pretty well. I like that they're so opposite towards each other, but like also the same. I'll explain that more when we actually get to that scene, because that kind of becomes like kind of a big scene. But I kind of like they've both dealt with the same stuff but in different ways, so I think that's pretty cool. And I kind of notice, and I might just think this too, because again I've watched 2.5 Men. They kind of try to make Shauna in the present kind of comic relief. Maybe I just think that too, because she'll get all the comedy scenes. I'm like, oh, well, she was in 2.5 Men. It kind of makes sense that she's the comic relief, So that's probably why I think that. And then, Natalie kind of gets more of like the serious, like grounded scenes, and Thais is kind of a mixture of both.
Well, funny you say that, because I thought it was, I feel like Thais is like kind of the, like the straight person, well, funny I said that because she's gay.
In a different way.
The straight man. But then Natalie kind of has like the one-liners, and she says a lot of like crazy shit that like comes off as funny.
But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I've liked the screen time together. I think they've been doing pretty well. They haven't had like a scene like just them. Just to themselves, like Thaisa was kind of here, and maybe Thaisa kind of helped because Shauna and Thaisa, both the past and the present, have had a lot of screen time together, so maybe that's kind of overshadowing but I think Natalie and Shauna are doing pretty well. How do you think they've done pretty well being on screen together? Do you think?
Yeah, I like these three together. Again, I wish we got it a bit sooner. I was like telling Owen off camera, I'm like, oh yeah, this is like the first episode where like all three of them are together, aside from like the end of last episode, kind of.
The beginning. The beginning.
Yeah, beginning. Yeah, it was only like one scene. This is like the first episode where they're like all together, like working together for like the whole episode.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. Hopefully in like the rest of the season and season 2, we get them like together more.
Yeah, even if it's not like all the time.
Not saying they need to be glued at the hip like 24/7 or anything.
Yeah.
Just that like it sucks that it took 7 episodes to kind of get them all together. So hopefully like from now on we kind of get their plot points like coming together more often.
I mean, that's what I liked about like Breaking Bad, like Walt and Jesse. They did a lot of
stuff Walt and Jesse have their own like things going on, but like their plot points would like bump together quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I'm saying hopefully from now on, like we'll get like more of the main characters like being together.
I think a better example of that actually is Hank and Walt's, because like they were doing a lot of stuff separately, but like they were both in the same.
Yeah,
plot.
I feel like Hank and Walt was a better one because they interacted a lot less, or like their plot points did. Yeah,
but like it was all like it was basically the same plot point, just Hank didn't know it, so that was pretty cool.
I guess maybe a better comparison would be Ellen Light, because they didn't like actually meet for the first time until like 12 episodes in.
That's true. I said Hank and Walt just because Walt Light and Elle, it became, once they met, it was pretty obvious like they were on the same wavelength plot wise and everything like that. So
yeah.
Other behind the scenes things I want to mention. This was after episode 5. I meant to mention it the last episode, but I forgot. Episode 5, at least after that episode, is when the show got greenlit for a season 2. I don't think anything in episode 5 actually caused it to get a season 2. I think that was more of a coincidence than anything else. Like they were probably like meeting for negotiations, and it just happened to come out after episode 5. I don't think episode 5 like did anything like. I mean, I know they did some big things in episode 5, but I don't think episode 5 is like the specific reason it got like a season 2. I think that's kind of more of a, I'm just guessing, more of a coincidence than anything else. It probably just came out around that time. And at this moment, it said like they didn't really have much plans yet for like season 2. They were, I don't think they necessarily not expected to get picked up, but they hadn't started writing the show yet and anything like that, which is pretty common, because this was still 2021. So, they weren't really filming as much stuff, obviously, because it's still kind of the pandemic. So, like, they're filming stuff, but I think they're doing it very safely. So, they probably want to wait till, like, COVID laws kind of, like, cool down a little bit. Because if you don't forget, end of 2021, like, beginning of 2022, even though we didn't go into, like, a full lockdown, like, they kind of went like on a more softer shutdown because like another variant of COVID came out like around that time. Yeah. I know I can't really talk to you about that because you live in I'm gonna come off sounding bad here. You live in Florida. The pandemic was kind of not really handled as well in Florida as it.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I live out in the middle of nowhere in Florida, so honestly it was a lot less strict than up there.
We should do like a video one of these days where we just talk about what our COVID experience, like our pandemic experiences were like, because they're both very different, but especially your story is like the best, but like this isn't really the video for that. So,
yeah.
But yeah, let's get, that's pretty much everything there behind the scenes wise. You're talking first too, and talking for like you're gonna be talking for quite a while. So
this one's gonna be interesting because as we said, like all the main characters are together present day, so there's a lot less like splitting up the storylines.
I feel like too, because the storyline you're gonna talk about, a good chunk of that's dedicated like the beginning half of the past episode too. I think that this episode's kind of weird in the sense because I'm the one that writes the notes. I didn't really know how to write the notes because typically like. The plot points are very much more separated. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing, but this time everyone kind of like was together a lot more. So
I actually much prefer this. I think Owen, I am in the previous videos I've said one of my major complaints with the show is that it's has kind of trouble like focusing, like and it spreads itself too thin. Like there's too much going on in each episode.
Yeah.
So I think it's a much better idea where we had other scenes in the past, but like the main chunk of the storyline in the past was Thais' journey. And then obviously present day, we got like all the 3 characters together for that plot line. Hey, I think this is a better job at like kind of, like keeping focus.
I want to make sure we mentioned this because like I remember we critiqued this when they did it in episode 4. It also didn't feel like that one plot line like overshadowed both things. Like other characters still did stuff like of significance to this episode. Right,
yeah. That's why I was saying like other things still happened besides these 2 plot lines. It wasn't like, these 2 plot lines are the only thing that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am glad that like we kind of got like more of a focus. Well, yes, other stuff is still going on.
Yeah.
So the main thing this episode starts off with picking up pretty much where last episode left off. Thais is planning on going south, trying to find help. And Thais is making some pretty good points, I feel like. She says, like, they've been out here for however long. Again, they're pretty vague on it.
Yeah. We only know, like...
I think they mentioned that Thais has known that Sean is pregnant for a few weeks. So it's probably been, like, 2.5 months since they've been out here.
And later on, Jackie, like, mentions that, like, Sean has been acting weird for, like, weeks. So,
yeah.
So it's been a few weeks. So
yeah, so yeah, and that makes sense. So Thais is mentioning that like it's getting colder, winter is coming. Game of Thrones, and apparently they said that like there hasn't been any good game for like weeks, and I feel like last episode did not make that clear because if you remember, our big complaint was like Jackie was like flipping out on Natalie, being like, you guys are fucking around and not getting us food. And we were like, okay, Jackie, how about sit your ass the fuck down?
Right.
Because we didn't really get any indication that, like, Natalie and Travis were, like, not getting them food.
Yeah, definitely.
But, this episode makes it clear that, like, okay, so apparently, like, it's been getting colder and, like, there, like, hasn't been as much food lately.
Yeah, they didn't really explain that.
Yeah, so I'm saying I feel like that was a little bit more of telling and not showing. I feel like they should have made that more clear last episode.
That is one critique I have about this show. They do a little bit too much tell, not show, like, especially with, like, the Lottie stuff we've mentioned like a lot. Like that was like a big thing.
Oh yeah. That was like the most egregious one where like we had no fucking clue, or she had schizophrenia and like her medicine ran out.
Yeah, and that's like something you can't. That's something you can't. You kind of have to show us, not really tell us, type of thing. So
yeah. But yeah. So again, Thaisa, I'm kind of on Thaisa's side. Like we get although I do like that we're kind of getting like different points of view in the group. Well, it's funny. I was telling Owen this off camera too, or like we mentioned that like it's kind of hard to tell how many people are like there on the Yellowjackets team, because we have like the main characters, and then we have like a couple people like in the background. And this character who's kind of been in the background the last couple episodes, now all of a sudden she's like hanging out with like the actual like actors. It's funny too, because like none of the other extras are there. Like it's just like the girls who like are characters and have like been established and like have their plot lines, and then like this random girl who is like just now like speaking and like doing things.
It was so weird. Like I remember when I first saw this. I feel like I shouldn't say the reason. I also say this is really weird because we'll get a little hate on that, but like this person has been in it, hasn't talked at all, but like all of a sudden they like try to make her like somewhat of like not a completely fleshed out character, but like so they've been building her up as like a character where she can like speak. In my head I'm like, what if you haven't said a word like the whole show? And
that's right. So like in universe, I get it, because like obviously she has been there since the beginning, and like she's on the same team. Everyone would know her, but like we said at the end of episode 2, where like it was only like the main characters sitting around the fire.
Yeah,
like it's just really weird how like for these like plot meetings, it'll only be like the main characters and like no extras. So I feel like this would be a bit better, like if we actually like saw the extras like with the group more often. They don't have to say anything,
right.
But like if we had like more extras in the background, and like you said in a previous video, if we just got like a better like head count, so we know exactly how many people are out there.
I think what was weird about this too, like, because there's been other times where we have seen those background characters. This time around, like you said, it was just the main character and like this one girl that just randomly showed up out of nowhere.
Right.
By the way, no Harvey.
There was no. Sorry, go ahead.
There's no Harvey either. Where the hell was he? Like, why was she here?
Not even Ben. Ben didn't give a shit about any of this.
I don't even think.
And Harvey just fucking comes in and out of the goddamn ether.
Yeah.
Harvey's just fucking chilling in the lake. He's playing around, splashing around.
He got rescued and he gets rescued every now and then they just put him back.
I love that he keeps getting rescued and not telling anybody.
And he just comes back and just hangs out on the cage. Like if you think about it, I will talk about it later, but that's kind of what he does. He just comes out of this. I like to think he's just getting he's just like getting rescued.
Fucking, again, Thaisa, she's like, I'm going to head south and look for a town. Little does she know, if she headed east instead of south, there's a town like a mile away. And Javi knows about it. Javi just keeps going in and out of town and not telling anybody.
I like that better. I was going to say, like, Javi just has his own place out there just chilling, but I like that better, actually, that he's just going into town.
Yeah, like, Thaisa was going in the wrong direction. It was like a town east instead of south.
And he's and he becomes, like, well-known into the community, but he doesn't tell them, like, any of his background or anything like that. It's like that scene, I don't know if you remember in Jimmy Neutron, where, where they get stranded and Carl just, off screen, like went to like an island to get oranges and went back.
Oh yeah. I remember that. Yeah, I love that episode. We're gonna have to definitely talk about that at some point.
Yeah, but
we're getting off. But yeah, you get my point. Where I'm like, it's really weird that like it's just the main characters and like this random girl who has not spoken a goddamn word. And it's funny too, because like as soon as she was like talking, I knew she was gonna like be a character from now on. And yeah, sure enough, she ends up going on with Thaisa, like on her like quest. I like how I keep saying like journeying quest, like she's a fucking like like hero adventurer, going to like save the world.
But
she's bringing up some pretty shitty points. Where I like how she's like, okay, well, Thaisa, if you're gonna go, you shouldn't bring any equipment with you. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. What the fuck is your problem?
Right.
Like, Tyson's like, I'm gonna go, like, look for help. And she's like, okay, but, like, I don't want you bringing any food or, like, weapons or anything. It's like, okay, so you just want her to die.
Also, a weird thing, like a weird point that got like brought up, that I just thought of, like, but before we did the video and before we even got on and talked off camera, like Jackie mentioned, there's like a flare in the helicopter. I'm like, whether that wasn't mentioned, I don't think that's been mentioned like at all. Like, why? How come you didn't at least try to like? I get you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that is a good point.
But like,
yeah, I mean, like it makes sense that an airplane would have a flare, but yeah, that's a good point. That's weird they didn't like try that before.
Yeah, it'd be like at least once, because I'm pretty sure they had a few bullets, but at least it would have been nice if they tried it like at least one time, type of thing.
Yeah, I agree, and I like how Shauna, like you said, Jackie's kind of in favor of Taissa going. Because, again, I think Thais is making some pretty good points. Like, if winter's coming, they're going to freeze to death. Like, Thais even says, like, guys, it's not going to be like sweatshirt, oh, I'm so cold winter. It's going to be like you fall asleep and you die kind of winter.
It'll be funny if she says that, and then, like, it's just like, how sometimes we think winters are going to be worse. It's just like, winter doesn't even, like, happen.
Well, like it's Florida winter where it's like, oh, I guess I might need a sweatshirt today.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And then,
yeah.
I mean,
but I'm pretty sure they're like in Canada, right? Weren't they like flying to Canada?
Yeah. So spoiler alert, as you saw, that doesn't happen. So.
Oh yeah, well no. Well, I'm like, oh, it's a Canadian winter, so yeah, you're fucked. If only your plane crashed in Florida, you'd be fine. Yeah, but I like that. I mean, to be fair to random extra girl, she does make some good points where she's like, okay, and Van as well, because Van is against it. She's, Taissa mentions like, come on, if we just keep going south, there's gotta be like a house, or like a town, or like something. There has to be something. And then Van is like, okay, we don't, what if there isn't? What if there's like hundreds of miles of woods? Like what if? What, you're just gonna keep walking and eventually just, die?
I mean,
and
I shouldn't compare this, but like when we were kids, we were always told like if you ever get lost in the woods, the worst thing you can do is like keep going. You always get told to like stay in the area you're lost in, type of thing, for the most part. So,
and I feel like both sides are making decent points. I feel like I'm leaning more towards Taissa, because I'm like, she's kind of right. Like, okay, you're gonna be stranded out here in the winter. You're gonna fucking freeze to death, like, And Taissa even says like, okay, when Van brings up like, what are you gonna do if you don't find anything? And she's like, well, then I guess I'll die.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, those are kind of your options. Look for help and maybe die, or stay here and definitely die.
Definitely.
And I like how Shauna is kind of like in agreement with Taissa. She's like saying like, because obviously, we know Shauna's pregnant. She doesn't really have much time left. So, it makes sense that why she would want like help ASAP.
I did like Taissa like went over and like hugged Shauna, like kind of showing like, hey, I'm also kind of doing this for you, like a little bit, without really saying it. That was good. Yeah,
and then obviously Jack is kind of picking up on like it's really weird how close Taissa and Shauna have been getting.
Yeah. Overall, I like this scene a lot, though. This felt like very much fit Taissa's characteristics from what we're seeing in the present and everything like that too. I really like too, like they didn't do a vote this time, because every time the group has a disagreement, they'll always do a vote. And like that, Taissa was like, I don't care what you guys say, I'm going anyways. Like if everything was a group vote, then like it'd be annoying by this point. So I'm glad that this time it was like, I don't care what happens, I'm going anyways, type of thing.
Yeah, and Taissa also makes it very clear, like she's not expecting anyone to come with her.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, I'm going to go. If you want to come with me, cool. If not, I'm still going to go.
Yeah. So I like this a lot, and I like that everyone isn't necessarily really against it either. They're just like, they're like kind of, they're just trying to think it through a little bit more than, Taissa is. So that's pretty cool.
So we get a couple scenes before Taissa leaves. Van is speaking with Taissa while Taissa is like cutting her hair. And I'm presumably she's cutting her hair, because she's going to be out in the woods. It's better like not have longer hair or get caught on anything.
Yeah.
And I like how Van is like, "Hey, it looks good on you." And she's like kind of flirting with her a bit. And
I wonder how she did that. By the way, because they do like premiere. Well, I was gonna say they do premieres and stuff, but they probably weren't doing it this time. But like, because it's meant to be like a big thing in the show. That she cut her hair. Like, did she not post anything on Instagram for a while, or did she like wear a wig for a while? Because obviously, I don't know if the actress like had to go quiet for a while. I wonder how they did that.
Oh yeah, I mean they could have just like filmed these scenes like towards the end.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, but still, there was the pandemic and stuff like that. Who knows how long they went without like releasing this episode. This episode could have been in the can for a while, and they're just now releasing it.
I do remember when El Camino was coming out. They had Bryan Cranston go down there for like a weekend, and they just had him wear a bald cap.
Yeah.
But like, imagine he did actually like have to shave his head for that scene.
Yeah.
Because obviously like no one knew if he was going to be in the movie or not. So like, imagine like he did shave his head, and then like, well, I guess if anyone sees him in public, it'll be pretty obvious he's going to be in the movie.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess too, like maybe like you said, they filmed this scene like towards the end, which would make more sense. So,
well, it's already getting towards the end of the season anyway, so I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to just like film Thaisa's scenes.
Yeah.
Towards the end of production.
Her hair probably. Think about this now. Her hair probably, grew back like probably after like later on and everything like that too, type of thing. So
yeah. But I like Van's little story when she's talking about how she went to New York City when she was 7, and she really wanted to like ride the train and like getting like a New York churro or something. And she said she didn't. So it's kind of like on her bucket list to her and Thaisa to go to New York City together and like do all the stupid shit she wanted to do when she was a kid. And then Thais, so she's basically saying like, look, I love you, and there's a lot of things I want to do with you, so like I'm gonna come with you.
Yeah.
And then Thaisa says like, you don't have to come with me, and Van is like, you're right, I don't, but I need to. And that line kind of didn't really work for me, because like saying like I don't have to come with you, I need to come with you is the same thing.
Right.
So it was kind of a dumb line. I think it would have worked better if it was like, I don't want to come with you, I need to come with you, or something like saying that like Van still doesn't agree with going, and like she thinks it's dumb, but like she is still going to come anyway because she's worried about Thaisa.
Yeah, the delivery of that line wasn't the greatest.
Because saying like I don't have to come with you, I need to come with you, I'm like, that's the same. You just that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's the same thing pretty much. So
yeah. So her being like, I don't want to come with you, I need to come with you, I feel like would have worked better.
Yeah, much better.
Or something like, I don't need to come with you, I want to come with you, like reverse it a little bit, either would have worked.
I mean, you essentially just said the same thing, like over and over again, so.
Right. It'd be like, Owen, I don't love you, I love you. It's like, okay, that doesn't fucking make any sense.
More in my luck, I probably wouldn't even put any thought into that. I'd be like on my phone, like doing something. It would be like, cool. And
yeah.
then
I was just saying that as an example, by the way. And then, yeah. So I mean, overall, I like the conversation. That was just a little nitpick right there.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, I'm liking that we're seeing kind of Van and Thaisa's like chemistry. They're pretty good together. I like them.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to get a couple scenes like this in the episode, because what happens at the end of the episode.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Background girl and other background girl are like, hey, we haven't really like been in the show a whole lot. We should like go with Thaisa. And she's like, all right, cool. Gotta
get that actress time in there. They're probably looking at other projects right now. So it's like, oh wait, but we don't have anything to put on our acting resumes. All right, let's get out there. Like,
I love your idea of like when actors like screw up, they're like not allowed to be in the next episode, and like too many people screwed up last episode, so the writers are like, fuck, we have to like have some more characters in it. It's like, all right, we'll just have 2 of the background characters be in the plot.
You just mentioned that. By the way, Van screwed up this episode. Uh-oh. You just mentioned
it's
that.
It's like 3 strikes and you're out.
Well, it's only one.
It's a straight 3.
Yeah. It's too hot. I mean, Harvey got to be in the episode, but like, I think his fuck up was so bad, like in episode like 5, that like he hasn't like they're like, yeah, you're still kind of you're still on the shit list type of thing. Like,
I just love the idea that the writers like just forget Harvey exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess I'll mention that scene. I don't know, that happens later. Never mind.
Yeah, that's my thing. So
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so as I said, random background characters decide to go with Thaisa.
cool.
Yeah, so, we've got a whole little RPG party. We got Thaisa, the group leader.
Yep.
Vanna's the tank. The black girl is the mage. And the other girl is the medic. She's the white mage. And then we got... Oh, actually, no, wait. Misty's the white mage because she has medical knowledge. And the other girl is the rogue.
I know we're not talking about this till later, but I think it just makes sense to talk about it now. I'll just talk about it real quick. Originally, Travis was gonna go, but like Natalie kind of convinced him not to go because like obviously she's like worried about him and everything like that, so that makes like him not go.
Yeah.
I like we don't see it like they
What role would Travis be? I guess he would be the Lancer.
Yeah.
Oh, Owen doesn't really play video games, so he probably has no idea what I'm fucking talking about.
No idea.
But basically in video games, like in like groups, each person has like a role.
Okay.
So I was trying to say like, okay, who, because I keep saying like Tice is going on like this quest, this journey, this adventure. So it's like, all right, what would their roles be, in the group?
Yeah. I like to think like I noticed we don't actually see like Travis's conversation where he just changed his mind on not going. I like to think he was just like, yeah, I'm not going. Like he just decided, like all of a sudden he's just like, you got to use the video game reference. There's a wrestling reference where there's a you know who Hulk Hogan is. A big thing he would be like sometimes he would lose like what they call like his backstage power, where if he was supposed to lose or he would get told he was gonna lose, he'd be like, no, don't work for me, brother. So I like sometimes like for weeks and weeks and weeks he was supposed to lose, and then like the day the match was supposed to happen, he'd be like, nah, don't work for me, brother. So like I like to think that's what Travis did. He let it sit until like they left, that like he was like going, and then he went up to them and be like, yeah, don't work for me, guys. I ain't going. Like,
I mean, for real, like Thaisa was gonna go. She said, and she was like, she's going in like an hour. And then Travis was like, yeah, I'm going to go with her. And Natalie was like, hey, don't. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
So literally like 10 minutes before Tice is leaving, he's like, no, bye.
Yeah. I'm not going.
Yeah. And then we got one other person going on, like literally last minute. You want to talk about this scene? Because I've been talking for a bit.
Yeah, Misty. I think she saw that like, Ben and Thaisa were having a conversation. Well, that is what happened, but I was just trying to remember it. But Thaisa and Ben were having a conversation. I assume like Ben's just kind of giving like Thaisa instructions of like what to do. He's probably trying to talk about it.
Oh, Misty's a fucking... Ben is like, hey, look, I'm really worried about you guys. Just stay safe. Don't die. And Misty's like, how dare he talk to another girl?
Yeah. I like to think he tried to talk her out of it too. Like in the beginning type of thing, but like realized it wasn't going to happen. And then
that was something I kind of wish we got more of Ben's input here, because he's kind of been like the leader and he's the only adult around here.
Yeah,
I really wish we got more of him, like like his thoughts on all this.
I will say next episode does that better. So and then Misty just decides she's going, I think for two reasons. But it's also Misty, so I don't know why Misty does the shit that she does. But one, I think she wants to, this is like in her mind, her doing this will make like Ben like her, like saying like, hey, I'm gonna go on this big quest, and now all of a sudden you'll like me. When Ben's made it pretty clear he doesn't like her. I don't even think he likes her, like even as like coach to like student. I think he like completely hates her now, not even just like Oh yeah, no, he does not like her whatsoever. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because later Natalie is like, oh yeah, Ben's enjoying his newfound freedom from Misty.
She's like joking about it too, but that's like serious. Like he's like genuine.
Yeah.
And then like I think she wants to go too because I think she got kind of, at least this is what I think. I think she got kind of like you just said, like she got jealous that like Ben had the audacity to like talk to like Thaisa, and he's like, yeah, I'm going. That's my man. And like in episode 5, like Ben mentions like you wanted. Misty is supposed to be keeping their like so-called relationship a secret. She's not doing a good job of it because like she full on in front of the group like gives like this like big speech of like how she's gonna possibly not make it back, but if it does, just wait for me type of thing. Like kind of gives away the fact that they've been.
Well, it's also so funny how everyone's like looking and laughing, and Ben is just very clearly like, "Oh God, please die."
And then like I did notice Ben didn't talk Misty out of go when he's like, "Yeah, go, get out of here, get out of my." Like I think he's like.
I like how legitimately like Misty almost died at the end of this episode, and Ben was like, oh, "Thank God." I
like to think if they make it back. Ben's just gonna be like, fuck. He'd like, it's the Gucci scene from Death Note where like he got mad that Matsuda didn't die when he like wrote his name down or whatever. It's gonna be that scene.
Or because our last review was season 7 of Red vs. Blue. Remember when Sarge was like praying to God and he was like mad at God that like he didn't kill Griff?
Yeah, it's like.
It was like, dear God, I'm sure you know what you're doing, but come on, it would have been really easy for the Griff to step on that landmine.
Yep. I like to think there's going to be a scene later on where, like, I mean, I don't think it will happen, but, like, Ben and Misty get kidnapped and the person threatens to shoot, like, Misty if, like, Ben doesn't, like, tell him any information. He just said, like with Sarge, he just sits there dead silent.
Oh, I was just gonna be like, oh, that's funny, because Red vs. Blue also had a situation like that. Yeah.
So,
where CP was, like, had Griff at gunpoint and Sarge was just, like, dead silent.
I want to see that happen.
Like,
I would like to see that happen with,
Yeah, Misty's like, oh my God, Ben saved me, and Ben is just like stone-faced, doesn't give a fuck.
So is Ben and Misty just the Sarge and Griff relationship of the show?
I love that idea now. Yeah, you know what's funny? Misty has orange hair, Griff is orange. Makes sense.
So it's more like blonde than orange, though. So
yeah, true. It's funny because now that you told me that Misty's wearing a wig, like I can't unsee it.
Yeah. Well, I haven't even shown you what the actress herself actually looks like. So.
Oh, because like I didn't know it was a wig, and now that you told me, like I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's definitely a wig. It's super obvious.
But like the present day Misty isn't wearing a wig. I think you knew that, right?
No. I can tell that was kind of her natural hair. Yeah. So yeah.
I do want to say I like when we talk about like these. Because this happens every Yellowjackets review. We talk about like these like serious like scenes, and then we make like a joke out of them. Like it's just weird.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know, it's only been.
Well, to be fair, I feel like this was kind of like a comedy bit where Ben is just like, please leave Misty, please.
But I feel like we've been doing that a lot with the Yellowjackets. It's specifically Yellowjackets too. We didn't do it with like Death Note or Breaking Bad. Specifically Yellowjackets. There'll be like this dead serious scene, and we just make a joke out of it, type of thing.
Yeah. I was really waiting for when Misty is hugging Ben, saying she's leaving, Adam to come up and be like, "No, Misty, you should say Ben is really worried about you," and Ben to be like, "Adam, shut up, go away."
Still was present day too, like he's just time traveling.
Still present day, Adam. He hasn't aged today. Yeah. So, Thaisa and Van, Misty, and then 2 random background characters who just decided to start talking this episode. Go off on their quest.
To be fair, one of them has been talking, just not much.
Yeah, I guess a little bit, but like I forgot her name. I'm just calling her expert.
I think you missed a big thing, by the way. Unless you would get into it, like Lottie gives Van that like.
Oh, that yeah. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, so Lottie, of course, had her visions from last time, and her and Bible Girl like go over to like the corpse of the deer. It's like burned. They like burned it. And they didn't eat it, obviously, because it was filled with maggots. And they found like an intact like wishing bone basically in the deer.
Yeah. And
Lottie decides to give this to Van, being like, "Hey, I had a weird dream about like a river of blood. That's gonna be important later." I did takes this as like a good luck charm, and she hugs Van. And Van is like kind of like at first she's like yeah, wishing good luck charm. But like when she sees how like dead serious and like weird Lottie's being, Van kind of like starts to take it a bit more seriously.
Yeah, I liked that. I did like, by the way, because that was the big. I know it's a little scene, but that's the big thing we talked about. That Lola like questioned like why Lottie didn't tell him about the dream, because that was a big thing. We spent like half of the review last episode like talking about like why.
Oh yeah. When they're all having that meeting, and Bible Girl was like, "What do you think, Lottie?" And Lottie's like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
It's like, "Hey, Lottie, think you should like maybe mention these like dreams or the fact that you're schizophrenic or like any of these, huh?"
Oh,
to be fair, Babel Girl's like, why didn't you say anything? A lot. He's like, I don't want them to think I'm crazy. I get not wanting to explain your weird dreams, but again, just say you're fucking schizophrenic.
Yeah.
My God.
I do like that she did say, like, she wouldn't have believed me because with Taissa, because that's pretty consistent. Like, Taissa doesn't believe in any of that.
Yeah, that's fine. I get that, but I'm like, tell people you have schizophrenia, please.
Well, she kind of did. She told She told Laura. So.
Yeah, but you told the worst person because she's fucking telling you you're like Jesus now.
Yeah, not the best person to tell.
Literally could have told anybody except maybe Misty. Okay, Bible Girl telling her was probably better than Misty, but like, tell literally anybody else. Tell Javi for the 1 second he's fucking at camp. Tell anybody except Bible Girl.
Yeah, and Misty.
And Misty. Because Misty would, I don't know, probably try to like harvest your brain or something.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not the background character either. Because she didn't speak at all. So
Because they won't say anything. They'll just continue to exist in the background.
But yeah, I continue with the show.
Yeah. So Taissa and her group, her party, go on their quest to slay the Demon King. And this is kind of like the plot throughout the episode. They're kind of just walking through the woods. Van and Taissa have like a pretty fun banter, where they mentioned that like Taissa will be the first one to die in like a horror movie, and Taissa's like, why? Because I'm black, and she's like, no, because the skeptical one always dies first.
Yeah.
And then Van joke's like, wait, why does the black person always die first? And that hey Van, you got your wish. The black person didn't die first.
Well. I just talked about it this moment because we then we have to counter the whole plane crash, and I don't.
Well, yeah, I guess, but I guess I'm also talking about like since the crash.
What was funny about this scene too is in real life, like not long after this, recently, the actress that plays young Taissa got booked in a horror movie, one of the Scream movies, which is pretty funny. So
yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
It's like that whole scene where Jane, like they won't like Jane as like a superhero from Breaking Bad, and like she's didn't she become like an actual like superhero? Like she became like not Wonder Woman, but like somebody else in the cinematic.
Oh, Jessica Jones.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Because Owen, actually, I was bitching to you about Batwoman, which is a terrible CW show.
Is that the show that she's in?
No.
Okay.
No, Jessica Jones is good. Batwoman is ass.
Okay.
And Batwoman is also DC, not Marvel. In Batwoman, that show is fucking cringe. In one episode, one of the main characters is telling Batwoman, like, hey, there's like a zombie like plague going on. We should like deal with this. And Batwoman, I shit you not, goes, no, black people in horror movies don't mix well.
Is she black?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they kind of just like let the zombie apocalypse happen till the end of the episode because she's like, no, I don't want to deal with it because I'm black.
That's odd. Very odd.
Yeah. And then yeah, I'm like, well, yeah, that was an episode of TV. They aired on TV. Yeah. I just funny because again they're like joking about like stupid tropes like that. Yeah. Like in this episode, it's kind of harmless. It's a little bit of foreshadowing.
And there was like full on.
And then Batwoman, they're like, "Hey, should we like stop The Walking Dead from happening?" And she's like, "Nah, I'm black. I don't deal with zombies." It's like, okay. And then they get thrown in prison that episode and bitch about racism in the police for the whole episode.
I assume too. This wasn't even like the last episode of the show. The show continued.
No, it was like episode 5. It was just like, that's what I'm saying. That show's crazy. Where just like the zombie apocalypse will happen for like one episode and they'll never bring it up again.
Well, that happened in Phineas and Ferb too.
Yeah, but Phineas and Ferb, that's kind of like a joke that like, oh, that's crazy shit happens like that's one
true.
day.
Yeah.
Again, Batwoman and Riverdale, man. I can't wait to get to those because those shows are fucking nuts.
Well, don't you say Riverdale starts out well and then it just goes off the deep end though? Like.
Oh, yeah. Riverdale starts off pretty interesting. It's like a murder mystery, and then it just gets fucking nuts. Batwoman from day one has been nuts, but like it never reaches the heights of crazy of Riverdale.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I just wanted to bitch about that because, they were like talking about horror movie tropes in this episode. So I thought it'd be funny to bring that up because I've been rewatching Batwoman. And God, it's terrible. It's so
Why
terrible.
do we watch it? Just to hate watching?
Because it's kind of fun to hate on it.
Hey, I mean, we could continue that trend, and when we maybe I'll pick Batwoman as like the next bad thing we review.
I'm fine with that. I think your next pick was Mr. Meaty. I'm down for that too.
Well, on your birthday is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like Mr. Meaty won't.
Oh, my birthday? Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, continuing on. Sorry to get sidetracked.
By the way, we're probably not gonna make. We're probably going over an hour and a half because we keep rambling, but whatever.
Yeah, we still got like an hour left. We've only been talking for a half hour.
That's true. Okay. Well, 44 minutes on my end. So.
Really, for recording? Well, I mean, that's not including the intro.
Oh yeah. All right, continue.
Yeah. So they're walking through the woods. Then we get like a scene. It's presumably a little bit later. They don't say exactly how long they've been out there. Probably like a couple days. Because I think we get like 2 scenes where they're like at night sleeping.
Yeah.
So presumably they were out there for a couple days. They get to like a little stream that's like red. And Van brings up the dream Lottie had about the river of blood, and they look at their like electronic compass, which I guess they just have. I don't know if they got it from the plane or like the guy's cabin, but like I guess they just have a compass. But Owen, as the episode's title says, no compass, because the compass is like being fucked up by the river. And Misty mentions it could be because, like all the iron in the water is like fucking with the compass.
No, I think she said that was why with the river. Like Misty was just guessing. Like why it's red.
The river was red because of like a bunch of iron. Yeah. But like the compass is like fucking up. And Van mentions what Lottie said about like Lottie's like dream and like how Lottie during the plane incident mentioned that like it didn't want the guy to leave, that like there's something in the woods that doesn't want them to leave.
Yeah.
Except for Javi. Again, Javi can just walk like a mile east and then he finds like a town.
maybe Javi.
The ghost fucking forgets about Javi.
I was gonna say the ghost respects Javi that he at least had the audacity to ask if they're all gonna die, and is like, you know what? I like your moxie. You can live.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I like this kid. He's got spunk. I like how you call it moxie. Yeah, he's got the swagger. He got balls, kid. Yeah, we gotta make that video. Who's got the biggest balls? Javi's pretty up there. Not as much as Gyatso, but he's up there.
I mean, Gyatso murdered a whole like Fire Nation, pretty much. So.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I always like in that scene in Avatar, by the way. Aang's like upset about Gyatso, but he doesn't give a shit that like he
legit does not notice all the firebenders. And it's weird, it's never brought up again. When Aang is like, air nomads don't kill people, he just like does not remember that Gyatso murdered a whole room of firebenders.
Well, I feel like maybe it's one of those things where airbenders don't kill people unless they're gonna get killed themselves. So like, okay, if I'm dying anyways, I'm kicking you all with me. So
yeah, again, I love our headcanon that like no one in the air nomads really took that rule seriously. Aang is like the only one.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah. Adam has bigger balls than Javi, but who knows? Javi might overtake him one day. Yeah. So, Van also mentions that like Lottie has a history of like being like she predicted prom king and queen like the previous year, I guess.
Yeah, and she knew about like some type of like school set scandal that was going on or something where they mentioned like.
Oh yeah, she like they mentioned it before. Actually, that's pretty good continuity.
Yeah,
they mentioned like Mr. Jefferson like had like a scandal in a previous episode, so I'm glad they kind of brought that back.
I like that Lolly knows this stuff and doesn't tell anyone about it though. Like she's like, oh, she knew about it, and then like it's like she knew about it and she just lets that shit happen. Like she doesn't like try to say anything about it.
I know, right? Like, dude, if I could predict the fucking future, I would try to change it. You know,
it's just like
it's also like Lolly. Can you like predict the winning lottery number for tomorrow?
Yeah,
you know, because like I would appreciate it.
I like to think too. Lolly can predict it, and then she tries to go get it. Well, I mean, I know she couldn't, but like she tries to go get it, and she doesn't get it. She's like, fuck, like.
It's like the one time it doesn't work.
Yeah. I like to think too, like Lottie, like could have predicted like World War II was gonna happen, but just didn't tell anybody.
I know. She could have told Archduke Ferdinand, like, hey, maybe don't drive down that road. But she's like, nah, it'll all be fine.
So that's the thing. Like,
Oh, sorry. Another off topic. Fairly Odd Parents. I found a clip of it on YouTube, and I shit you not, they have a joke where it's like, where Cosmo and Wanda, fucking their previous like kid, had Archduke Ferdinand assassinated, which caused World War One.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I do not remember that joke from Fairly Odd Parents.
I can't believe they put that in Fairly Odd Parents too. By the way, like.
Yeah, no, I'll just remember that Cosmo and Wanda caused World War One, which by extension caused World War Two.
Yeah, and Lottie knew about it and didn't tell anybody about it.
Yeah, I love that.
I like to think that anyways. Well, yeah, because actually that doesn't add up because Lottie wouldn't have been born then.
She's like Adam. She just like doesn't age.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone is kind of agreeing with Van, like, hey, this is crazy. Like we should go back. And Taissa is getting a bit more annoyed with everyone. Before she was like stern, but like wasn't mean. Now she's being full on. Like, there's nothing out here. You're all being stupid. And like, I'm going. You didn't have to come. And she kind of looks directly at Van when she says you didn't have to come. Which is kind of fucked up because Van like really opened up to her a lot and like says like, hey, I want you to be safe. I want to be with you. I want to come with you.
And I like to think too why Thais is now acting this way is she has like a little bit. She's trying to not think there is something supernatural going on because obviously what happened.
Right. Because a big thing is like Taissa gets really defensive about the supernatural stuff, like because like when everyone was worried about the guy in the attic. He like decided to sleep up there to kind of be like, there's no such thing.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of continuing that trend of like Taissa is like super defensive about like supernatural stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then she kind of continues on. Everyone continues on with her, but they're definitely like shaken up. They don't really want to continue going south. And they end up setting up camp for the night. They get around the fire. And previous in the episode, they heard about wolves, and Taissa kind of reassured them, like, hey, don't worry, wolves are afraid of humans. Like, it's fine. Yeah. Which, okay.
I even laughed, actually, when I first heard this scene, like, the first time watching. I'm like, yeah, that's totally been a thing that's happened.
Yeah. It's also, like, I mean, I get you started the fire because you're, like, want to be warm. But, yeah, a little heads up, animals can be attracted to fire, so probably should have put that out if you're going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, probably should have put the fire. And then Thais is like, everyone's going to sleep, and then Van says, says Thais's full name and is, like, very clearly being, like, cold towards her. So obviously Van is, like, upset with Taissa.
Yeah.
Taissa decides like, hey, I'll take the first watch. Let's all like get some sleep. And then a little bit later, Taissa wakes up in a tree, and she notices she has like the bone that Lottie gave to Van, like the good luck charm.
Right.
And then she goes down the tree and sees that like everyone's being attacked by wolves. And I'll kind of talk about more of the scene, but I'll like say everything first. Everyone's being attacked by wolves. Tais's first priority is like, oh my god, where's Van? Misty says like, I was surprised Misty was the one who said this. Misty says like, go, don't worry about us. Van is over there.
Yeah, that was weird.
I was like, wow, Misty actually like gives a shit about other people. Okay. And then Taissa goes over there. And Misty is getting, like, fucking ragdolled. Like, she is, like, just getting flung around. And then Taissa grabs, like, a stick and then, like, just goes and just, like, beats the wolf.
I always thought it was the axe because they mentioned I could win the axe.
Was it the axe? Okay, because I just saw her, like, go on the ground and, like, pick something up. I thought it was a stick.
I like to think it was the axe because, like, there's no way they could do that much damage to a freaking wolf if it was a stick.
Right, that's why I was gonna bitch about that, but okay, if it's the axe, that's a little.
Do you want
better.
Me to like check while you talk about it, just to be double, just to?
Yeah, double check, please, because it looked like a stick. The scene was kind of dark though, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
And then Thais is beating the wolf to death. And she's like sobbing as she does it, and then she goes to check on Van. Van's not. Van was like screaming bloody murder earlier, but now she's dead silent. Taissa flips her over, and her cheek is like torn open. You can see like her teeth through her cheek, and she's looks pretty like pale white as a ghost, not moving or blinking at all. So presumably Van has died, and Taissa's crying. Misty and two other extra girls come over and see what has happened, and that's kind of the end of the episode. Obviously, we're going to talk about like the other stuff in the episode. We're just kind of going storyline by storyline as we normally do.
Yeah. She also used a flare gun too, by the way. I'm watching it now.
Yeah, she used the flare gun. It didn't really work. And then she...
Okay.
So did you grab an axe or was it a stick?
It looks like a stick to me. Because like it's by a...
Yeah, because I didn't see and then it looked like a stick, yeah.
In my head, I thought it was the axe because they mentioned earlier they win the axe. That would have made more sense.
Yeah, it looked like just like a stick she just found on the ground. Yeah,
it is a stick.
So, okay,
okay, that's kind of.
I remember, because I remember I'm going through this blind for the first time. Owen has seen this show all the way through up to the current season.
I have a 10.
So whenever I finish an episode, I text Owen my thoughts.
Yeah.
I mentioned for this scene, I was kind of disappointed that it was so short because they've been hyping up the wolf attack for a while.
Since episode 2, I think.
Yeah, and it was very specifically like Taissa's like kind of PTSD over it, and as we've seen this episode, Shauna and Natalie weren't there for it, so it makes sense like they kind of haven't been having PTSD for it,
right?
And then Misty's a fucking psycho, so I guess she just she wasn't really fazed by it. And as we see here, Van died during the wolf attack, and obviously Van and Taissa are like dating, so makes sense why Taissa would be like so fucked up by this attack.
Because she probably blamed herself a little bit because she kept insisting like to go on this journey.
That they keep going, and Van didn't want to go, and Taissa like got really, especially because like the last like thing that happened before this attack was like they argued.
Yeah.
And obviously Taissa was supposed to be on watch. And then when Taissa wakes up, she's like in the tree and like they're already getting attacked.
Right.
So if like Taissa was on watch, she should have been like able to like warn them.
Yeah. So I will say, I think you talked about you talked about everything that happened in the wolf attack. I'll talk about my feelings on it. Overall, I like the concept of it. Like I liked everything, like how it was set up, why Taissa feels the way that she feels, and everything like that. Obviously, it didn't look great. The wolves looked terrible CGI. Because they looked worse than when we've seen them in like the flat, like when Thais is actually like dealing with the PTSD, and that makes sense. It wouldn't look great then because it's not real. But here it's supposed to be like real wolves attacking, and they don't even look like the real wolves. They look like totally like they've been placed in CGI wise and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then it's also just very quick. I feel like you said off screen. You might have said it now, but I wasn't paying attention because I was trying to look at the wolf attack scene.
Yeah.
But I feel like like you said, they deal with it a little too quickly. Now the fact that it's a stick, I thought it was an axe, because Taissa mentions like earlier, like I could win the axe. I was like, oh, so she used the axe to take the wolves out and everything like that. But like the fact that it was a stick, I'm like, yeah, because this thing that's like. It'd be one thing if like the thing got hit with a stick and like ran away. This thing doesn't just. I like to think it has to be the axe, because this thing gets like full on murdered, and it can't be by a stick. It has to be by the axe, because like then if it's the stick, then it's stupid. Like,
yeah, I feel like it's kind of stupid either way. Just because it's like, I don't know. I feel like the wolf would have put up more of a fight,
Yeah.
So I was like disappointed when I first saw this scene, but like I'm kind of glad I watched it and then we waited a couple of days to do the review, because the more I thought about it, the more I didn't like.
Especially too. The biggest thing I don't like about this scene is off screen, like before Thais even goes to do any of this stuff with Van, we saw like the group was like being like cornered by other wolves, and then like when this stuff with Taissa happens, the wolves are just gone. Like, what happened? Like,
yeah. So I'm gonna bring up like a more in depth. So Obviously, we saw last episode, Taissa has like this ongoing issue where she has like a split personality. She like sleepwalks, and she's like the lady in the tree.
Yeah.
And she's like speaking to her son Sammy, saying like, like your mom is hiding stuff, and your mom has done a lot of horrible things. So like presumably, my like basic understanding of this was Taissa, has PTSD from all the stuff that happens in the woods, and obviously all the girls agreed like they're not going to speak to anyone about what happened, so they're not doing therapy. And Taissa has shown like she doesn't believe in therapy anyway.
Yeah.
So my understanding was like all these years of like bottling it up and all these horrible things resulted in her kind of like developing the sleepwalking thing, and now she's like trying to like tell her son how horrible she is, because she like feels all this like immense guilt. But now in the flashback, we're seeing like similar thing where teenage Taissa, climbed into the tree while she was like sleepwalking, and obviously like the plane crash happened, but nothing else super traumatic had happened at this point. So my understanding is that this like sleepwalking thing has been a thing for decades, apparently, because this is 16-year-old Taissa, not 40-year-old Taissa. So, in the lady in the tree thing, my understanding was like that had been like a recent thing, like this was something Sammy had just been dealing with, like recently. So I was like, oh, okay, Taissa has likely started like sleepwalking in the last couple months, maybe a couple weeks. And also the election, maybe it was the election stress, is what causing Taissa to start sleepwalking. So no, apparently, based on what we see here, and again, I could be wrong, this could be explained later, and it's like separate. But my understanding is that Taissa has apparently had a sleepwalking issue for years. And it is not a result of all the PTSD from the woods. It is like you said off camera, it could be the PTSD of what happened with her grandmother. If that's the case, I don't really like it.
Even that's kind of like weird, yeah, because like that was pretty traumatic, but like maybe not sleepwalking traumatic.
Right, and like you're like climbing trees because of it, like that's weirdly specific. And also, like if she was like climbing the trees because of the PTSD in the woods, that makes sense, because like she's stuck in the woods, maybe like she's like acting all feral.
Yeah.
But like I don't know why she would be climbing trees if you've been living in society your whole fucking life.
Yeah.
And again, like, my assumption was this was like the lady in the tree thing was a recent thing. And like, like obviously like Taissa like just found out about it at the end of last episode. She didn't realize like she had been doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, like obviously like that's, because I mentioned like if she knew about it, that would be horrible. She's a horrible mother for like traumatizing her kid and hiding it. But like if Taissa has not only been traumatizing her son and is aware of it, if she knows she has a sleepwalking issue for literally decades and has not done anything about it, then I fucking hate that.
Oh, and her parents haven't done anything about it unless they don't know.
Right. No one knows about it. Fucking her and Van have been sleeping together like a pair of goddamn scissors, and Van never noticed it.
Also, it's weird though, like you just mentioned that. Like I mentioned, like when Taissa like realizes she's like the lady, and as you saw in this episode, she was like shocked about it. But like if you've been known to do this, and you were kind of like been like, okay, wait, lady in the tree, I've been sleepwalking type of thing.
And like and it's you can't even say like, oh, maybe Taissa like forgot or something. Well, like okay, so she has PTSD flashbacks of the wolves constantly. We have seen she sees the wolves constantly, and I mean like the whole climbing in the tree thing is directly related to the wolves. Yeah. So like there's no way she would forget about it.
Yeah, I don't.
So one, I just feel like it's less interesting to make it that she's like always had this issue and it's not a result of the PTSD of being in the woods.
And it makes Taissa
like just one, it makes her fucking horrible that she's never addressed this.
Yeah.
It makes no sense that she doesn't know that she was the lady in the tree traumatizing Sammy. And three, it's just dumb. Like, no one noticed this really for decades. No one has noticed that Taisa has this issue.
And I'll say this too, like, what makes it weird too is like that because it was written in the perspective that we weren't supposed to know. But if Taisa knew, you're like, why wouldn't she say something like immediately or like go talk to like, you know, like what, like the way she reacts to when her son mentions like lady in the tree thing just doesn't really add up, type of thing. Like,
right, you figure Taisa would be like, wait a minute, like that's weirdly familiar. You know, or like, you know, maybe, or like she would be suspicious, like maybe it is me.
yeah.
Yeah, but Taisa was like, obviously, you know, this episode started off with, you know, cutting, you know, from where Taisa was last episode. Like, she, like, realized, like, oh shit, like, I'm the lady in the tree.
Especially too, there's been, like, scenes by herself where she seemed like she didn't know either. Like, with a scene where she finds her son's doll all dismantled. Does she not realize that's her? Like, what's going on there? Like...
Right. So now it's like, so, you know, I felt bad for Taisa. Like, oh my god, you know, she's, like, so traumatized. She, like, is, like, doing this without her even realizing it. But now it's like, oh no, wait, you've known this is a thing for, like, since you were a teenager?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I mean,
this is just dumb.
I'm sorry to say this,
I'm
too.
sorry.
I'm sorry to say this, too. This kind of comes off as... Because I'll just say this now. This comes off... I told you this before. This comes off as a continuity error because she goes to, like, Shauna in the present and, like, mentions that, like, her son seen me do it, like, she didn't know about it. So this is also just a continuity error, like, all together type of thing, where she seemed like she didn't really know about it and stuff like that. So...
Yeah. So, and it's also just, like, again, it's like the Lottie and the schizophrenia thing. Like, it feels like these characters are just not doing certain things because it would ruin the plot, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's just crazy to me that Taisa wouldn't tell Van or her parents, or, like, she wouldn't do literally anything to fix this issue.
Right.
And again, it's, like, even more than, like, it's dumb or it's a plot hole, for me, it's just less interesting that, like, she's always had this issue, and it's not a result of the PTSD.
Yeah.
Like, it's just less interesting. It would have been more interesting if this was, like, a result of the trauma that she, like, developed.
Yeah.
So, you know, even more than, like, it's a plot issue or whatever, I'm just, like, less interested in it now.
Yeah, not as interested in it now, yeah. Like, they kind of ruined it a little bit, so...
Like, it's not fully ruined. I'm still interested in it.
Yeah.
But, like, a lot less than I was, you know? And yeah, the wolf attack, really short, way too short for how much they built it up. Like you said, it's really weird how Misty and them were, like, cornered by the wolves. And then, like, a minute later, they go to check on Taisa and Van, and the wolves are gone. They just, like, I guess they murdered the wolves super easily, barely an inconvenience.
It does also make sense because, like, Ben said, like, in episode, like, 2... and maybe it was 3. No, it's episode 3. Like, wolves can beat anything in a pack. I guess not, because like it's a little girl. They
beat them easily. They killed them off screen. Well, it's funny when we were talking about Dragon Ball. Owen mentioned, like, because Owen's only memory of, like, Goku is, like, he comes in all badass and then, like, he gets beaten off screen, and you're like, wow, this Goku guy kind of sucks.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it feels like here, where these wolves are, like, hyped up. Like, oh my god, these wolves traumatized Taisa for years. They must have, like, been such a bloody battle. And then it's like, nah, it was like 2 minutes and they killed them off screen.
Yeah. And again, it just didn't look good either. Like, you know.
Yeah, the CGI was terrible. And Taisa apparently murdered one with a stick.
Unless I hope.
And, like, maybe it was the axe. Maybe we're both just have, like, really shitty eyes. But it looked like a stick.
Yeah. They should have made it more clear. Because it was never, again, that was like a show don't tell. That wasn't even a show don't tell. That was like a don't tell don't show. Like, because they mentioned they have the act, but we don't even know if they actually, like, have it type of thing. Like, it would.
Yeah, and, like, I mean, it looked like Taisa just fucking grabbed the nearest thing off the ground. Like,
yeah.
So if it was the axe, it's like, wow, what are the odds the axe was right there? And if it was a stick, then how the fuck did you bludgeon a wolf twice as big as you with a goddamn stick?
Don't know.
And, like, not to be sexist, but, like, you're a fucking 15-year-old girl. I feel like a 30-year-old buff dude would have an issue bludgeoning a wolf with a stick.
I hate to say it's gonna sound sex. I couldn't believe Travis doing it because he's, like, pretty built and everything like that.
Even then, I feel like Travis would, like, have an issue. Yeah. I feel like the stick would break before the wolf's skull.
Right.
So yeah, it's funny. I already didn't like it, but the more I'm talking about it and bitching about it, I'm like, wow, no, I really don't like this scene.
Yeah, it's just so weird.
And it sucks too because like it was built up for a while, and I was really looking forward to the wolf attack.
Yeah. If
Van
this wolf
Dyne,
attack, by the way, like
oh, sorry, what's up?
this wolf attack, by the way, ruined kind of the end of the last episode too. That was like something that was built up to, not completely ruined it, but like kind of squandered that because like we found out Thais was a lady in the tree. That also kind of ruins that scene a little bit now too. So
Yeah,
so it's kind of kills.
So,
hey,
it ruined a lot of the build up it had towards it.
maybe that's why Thais has PTSD because the wolf attack scene wasn't good. Like that CGI.
And like, even though it makes sense why Shauna and Natalie like aren't, they weren't there, so obviously they don't have PTSD because of the wolf attack. The way it was being built up, it seemed like it was a bigger deal than it was.
Yeah.
When I was imagining the wolf attack, because I mentioned like, oh, Travis mentioned like, oh my god, with all the period blood, like it'll attract predators.
Yeah.
I was thinking like the wolf attack was going to be a much bigger thing. Like it was going to be like a whole episode, or at least the majority of an episode, and like multiple people were going to die.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
and it was going to something that was going to affect all of them. Like maybe Natalie and Shauna, like they do have PTSD from the wolf attack, and we just didn't know. But no, Natalie and Shauna weren't there. Misty is obviously crazy, so she didn't give a shit.
That doesn't bother me though.
Huh?
That doesn't bother me.
What, that Misty isn't affected by it?
Yeah. Because like
that's fine. But I'm saying like I just imagine the wolf attack as like a bigger deal than it was.
Yeah.
And because obviously I don't really give a shit about these two extras. So like Thaisa is like really the only one affected by this wolf attack.
Right.
And then I'm glad someone finally died because the only no one has died since the plane crash.
Yeah.
And again, I like the conversation earlier where they're like joking about how the black person always dies, and then Van ends up fucking getting murdered.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I do like that, but yeah, overall, really disappointed in the wolf attack.
It was the end of the episode too, so
yeah.
Yeah, but luckily the wolf attack, it ruins the episode a little bit, but luckily there was other stuff to talk about. I'll just talk about that.
Yeah, the rest of the episode is great, and I like the storyline until that point.
Yeah. I'll just talk about the Natalie and Travis stuff since it's kind of quick. Like, when Travis doesn't go on the Thaisa's quest, she is thrilled about it. They're about to have sex, and Travis is putting his condom on. He's struggling to do it, which I actually kind of feel bad for him because, you could definitely tell he's trying. And, it's like that comedy bit where, like, they always tell in sitcoms and stuff where he can't, like, perform and all that type of stuff. Or you would say, like, with your friends, but, like, you're actually seeing it played out. Like, oh, I just feel so bad for Travis here because he's trying so hard.
Yeah, I kind of booked this. I was kind of, like, skipping a couple seconds in this scene because it was really awkward. I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah, I felt bad for him. And then,
I've always been, like, a really awkward with, like, scenes like these, like the sex scene and stuff. Where I'm always kind of like, please end. I was literally, like, kind of sitting there being like, okay, this is going on way too long. Finish up, please.
Yeah.
And that's not the scene's fault. I'm just, like, really awkward with stuff like that.
I think we were supposed to feel that way anyways, so that's kind of like good.
Right, and especially, just like, he's a teenage boy, it's like fucking,
But then, I think Natalie at one point, like, mentioned, like, no one was around at this point, and, like, Coach Ben was there, but, like, even if he comes in, like, we're just going to hear him because he's going to have his crutches and things like that. And obviously, I think this is kind of what causes Travis not to be able to have sex because, he kind of was thinking about, like, him and Ben's conversation he had, like, earlier and everything like that.
Travis is trying to sleep with a girl, but he's too busy thinking about Ben. That sounds really weird out of context.
It does.
Travis is actually gay, and he's like, damn it. I keep thinking about Ben, and he's so sexy with that one leg.
So then, so Travis, when he realized it's just not going to happen, he just gets frustrated and just leaves. And I like though that, like, Natalie did.
I was waiting. Sorry to make a joke. I was waiting for Adam to bust in, like, "Hey, Travis and Natalie." I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry to interrupt you guys."
That seems like an Adam thing to do.
Yeah, damn it, Adam, get out of here.
Yeah, I felt bad for Travis here. I like too that like Natalie didn't get mad at him or anything like that. Like even she feels bad for him, like because she even knows like he's trying, but it's just not happening. So
yeah, and I feel bad for him. Like he's trying not to be like upset, but he's like, hey, look, I got to be by myself. I got to go.
yeah, so.
Yeah.
I like this scene. I actually kind of like this story. And again, what kind of sucks about it is because we've seen the present, like it leads to tragedy. So I like that. You kind of have that perspective.
Yeah, this is like weirdly wholesome in a way. Like it's the most like quote unquote normal drama happening.
Yeah.
Obviously Tice and them are like dealing with wolves, and Jackie and Sean are dealing with like the pregnancy out in the woods and how that could kill her. So like this kind of goofy high school romance kind of thing. Like I like that it's like the most normal thing happening because obviously we know, like you said, it like leads to tragedy.
Yeah. I know what I like about it too is that I like that it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's like in the episode, but like it's not like it's like in the background type of thing.
I was kind of surprised this has been like an ongoing thing. Because I think I mentioned last time, like, I forgot they didn't actually sleep together until you brought up, like, Travis saw the deer.
I remember you even said, like...
I was like, oh, yeah, right. I guess they didn't sleep together. That's right.
I remember we did...
And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess this is going to be, like, a thing, huh?
So I remember, like, we were talking about in the last episode, and you were like, no, when it was pretty implied that they would sleep, and then we started talking about, like, that scene. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, they didn't sleep together. So,
Yeah. So I'm kind of surprised that this is going to be like a whole thing.
I kind of like that it's a thing though. It's a logical drama too because Travis is a virgin and everything like that, so it works. Yeah. But then we have Shauna and Jackie's plot.
Stephanie Finch.
I'm gonna take this call.
Yeah.
Okay, continuing. So the next scene we see, Shauna's kind of avoiding Jackie, and Jackie catches on to it pretty quickly, saying, that she's been, like, avoiding her for weeks type of thing. I could say that's rushed, but I think it helped that Jackie wasn't in the last episode as much, so you could kind of believe that that's kind of what was going on, so...
Yeah, and I also like that, like, I think it makes more sense for Jackie to be so, like, in Shauna's face about it. That, like, it's been, like, an ongoing thing for a while.
Especially, the best friends, like, you're gonna know, like, when your best friend's acting odd.
Yeah, Jackie even mentions that, like, when, like, Shauna's parents were getting divorced, Shauna is, like, said that, like, her dad, like, was, like, working at, like, fucking Hello Kitty or something.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, like, Jackie can tell when Shauna's lying, which is a big thing, because later on, Shauna, like, tells a half-truth, and, like, Jackie can kind of tell she's, like, hiding some more.
Yeah. Which I liked. And I like, too, because it keeps the characters, like, consistent from the present. Like, that Shauna's not very good at lying. It kind of adds up to, like, the present type of thing. So...
Yeah. The book club thing.
Huh?
Yeah, the book club thing.
But, I like there was a delay. Shauna doesn't say anything at first. But then she kind of realizes, like, yeah, I gotta spill the beans. She kind of tells, like, Jackie that she's pregnant. She's not very excited about it because it's like an... it's like an act of defeat type of thing that she has to kind of say, like, yeah, I can't hide it anymore. And actually, Jackie kind of handles it, obviously, really well. She's very shocked, but I like she's just very excited for her because in Jackie's mind, like, Sean has been a virgin, and she's like, wow, when did you have sex type of thing?
Well, I wouldn't say she's excited. She's just, like, more so, like, stunned and surprised. And she's, like, trying to be supportive. She's like, oh, well, we'll deal with it. Like, I'm here for you. So I wouldn't say excited. She's not really happy about it.
I say excited. I said excited in terms of like she's actually excited that like Jackie isn't a virgin anymore, type of thing. Like because she thought she's a virgin, she like didn't think she would actually.
Yeah, well, she's also surprised. She's like, wait, like when did that happen and with who?
Yeah.
Yeah, when Sean says Randy. It's funny because we met Randy last episode,
which I liked because I actually remember. Like Shauna mentioned him, but I forgot, because it's been a while. Like I forgot we met him first. So I like that we've met Randy like in the present, and then they like mentioned it because it would have been kind of weird if, and a bit too much of a coincidence if you like met him this episode and it was mentioned.
It also makes sense because Randy we see has been like friends with Jeff like for years, and I think they mentioned like when Shauna like was having that flashback to when they were like in middle school and like and Jackie had a crush on Jeff. I mentioned Randy, like, is friends with Jeff. Yeah. So, like, that's kind of been, like, an ongoing thing that, like, Randy has been friends with Jeff for, like, super long.
Yeah, so it adds up.
So it makes sense, Shauna hangs out with Jackie and Jeff so much, it would make sense she also hangs out with Randy.
Yeah. And yeah, then later on, they're by the lake. I like to think, by the way, like the stuff that took place like at the cabin, like away from the wolf attack, was all one day, and then everything else was like, kind of like the RVB thing they did with season 7, like everything like at the camp was like one day, and then everything like it was like a few weeks went by doing the desert stuff.
Yeah, like the storylines like aren't matching up exactly. Yeah.
And I think at this point now, like Jackie's excited for Shauna type of thing, like wants her to like talk about like the experience and like how it happened and like when it happened and everything like that. And Shauna obviously is lying. She mentioned that it was doing like a birthday party, and she mentioned that like Jeff drank too much and her and Jeff like went home and like it happened like after the fact type of thing. And obviously at first, she mentions like it was just quick. It was only like 3 minutes, which I think that was true type of thing. I can buy that. And then, things all of a sudden like aren't adding up for Jackie. She's like, wait, but like didn't Randy get drunk and like we had to bring him home? And Shauna's like, yeah, it must have been like in between it. So like the story, like Shauna's story isn't meshing up and Jackie's kind of picking up on it, which I actually...
Yeah, I think Shauna also says like I was pretty drunk too. So like, it could have been, I think she was trying to say like, oh yeah, Randy was drunk and like we kind of like hooked up while we were drunk. And yeah, so she's basically trying to like squeeze in that during that whole situation.
But I liked that though, because like it was like, it was foreshadowing for like later on type of thing.
Yeah, I think Jackie's actress did a pretty good job. Like the face she was making, you can kind of tell she wasn't really buying what Shauna was saying.
Yeah.
She wasn't picking up what she was putting down.
And then I do like they have that moment where like both Jackie and Shauna are like obviously worried because they're like, what the hell are you gonna do? Because now you have to like raise a kid like out in the wilderness pretty much and everything like that, and like how the hell are you gonna feed the kid? So like Shauna even says like I don't know, and I like this because like Jackie's being like really supportive to like Shauna and everything like that. So
it's funny because we've talked about how Jackie was being a bitch the last like 2 episodes, but like she's being a pretty good friend here. Where like obviously she doesn't know about Jeff's kid, but like she's being like understanding of Shauna and like supportive, and she's being a pretty good friend overall.
I will say that's kind of a critique I have of the show. They'll try to get they'll spend episodes trying to get... I know like people are flawed anyways, but what a coincidence Jackie came off likable here when it was kind of convenient for like the plot where it needed to happen, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah, well that's kind of like a critique I was having with Lottie and Taissa, where it seems like they won't do certain things because they need the plot to happen.
Yeah. So here,
even though like it doesn't really make sense.
So here they kind of felt like it seems like here they kind of made Jackie likable because they needed it for the plot, if that makes sense. So,
well, I guess. Well, I mean, like she's always been pretty nice to Shauna.
Yeah.
Like I guess it's like Jackie's being like when she was a bitch, she was being a bitch to Natalie.
That's true.
But I guess it's kind of consistent that she's like nice to Shauna.
Yeah. So then,
but like I do agree, it is weird how they like made the last 2 episodes to like make us not like Jackie.
Yeah.
And then now they're like Jackie's being like nice again. It is weird.
Yeah. I mean, at least it was just Shauna and like Jackie, and maybe she was. Again, we didn't see anything off screen, so it'd be funny if off screen she's actually pretty nice. We just don't see it on camera. It's like
again, like you said, like people are flawed. Like it makes sense she could be like bitchy to one person, shitty to nice to another. But like it's just a little more consistency would be nice.
So then, especially too, they've known these. It's not like they've just met these people either. They've known each other.
Right. So she's like, they've known everyone for like so long. So it is weird. Yeah.
But anyhow, again, Harvey's one scene, while he's going through Shauna's bag and trying to find like, well, what I thought was gonna be was like journal, because they mentioned like that she wanted to start like journaling and everything like that. But no, he's just looking for like a knife to do like an arts and craft project with. So
I thought this scene was really weird. Obviously, Owen can't really spoil anything for me, but I asked him, I was like, does this like lead to something? Because this is like a really weird scene to have.
And I also mentioned I forgot. So it's like I don't remember.
Right, and he basically like it might, but I forgot. So I'm like, okay, well, whatever it is, it wouldn't be that important.
Right.
So this was really weird. That Javi would just like look through her. I mean, even Shauna seemed kind of mad at him. Like, okay, like just ask someone. Don't look through their stuff without warning.
Right.
Well, this was basically to like give Shauna a reason to like hide her journal.
Yeah. definitely.
I feel like you didn't really need the scene to do that. I feel like you could have just had Shauna like hide it on her own. Like, she's just like, oh, okay, Jackie knows I'm pregnant. I'm gonna hide my journal so she doesn't like find out anything more.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like you didn't really need Javi looking through her clothes to like give her a reason to hide the journal.
Well, yeah, Javi hasn't had a screen time in a while, so got to give him something to do.
It was bizarre when I saw him. I'm like, oh my god, he's fucking back.
What have you bet? Like,
but the scene was only like a minute long, so it's like Javi's like shows up. He's like, hi guys, bye guys.
Gotta go back to my things now. He has a life too. Like,
it was pretty weird too. He was like, I need a knife for like an art project. I'm like, that seems really dumb.
What the hell is he making, by the way? Like, he says a art project. Like, is he making like what is he making? Like,
I know, right?
I feel like it might be.
I want a continuation for that. Next episode, we better see what fucking Javi's been working on. Javi's been working on whatever fucking art project for multiple episodes because he's been fucking not in this show.
He has an art project that's like due the next day. He's for some reason he just decides he's gonna work on it.
Again, Javi's been like going to like a local town. He's back in school and everything.
Yeah.
He's got an art project too. Yeah.
I like to think he's flying home in the between and like not mentioning that he's been like on a plane crash too. Like everyone's asking him about it, he just doesn't mention it.
He's not mentioning it. He's really mad at Travis for throwing away the gum.
Yeah.
Still. He was like, fuck you guys, you can all fucking scavenge out in the woods. I'm going home.
He just starts he becomes addicted to gum, like as if it's a drug. He just starts chewing gum now. Like,
exactly. I love it, yeah.
I think Javi and Adam are awesome. Like they're great. Like,
yeah. They're great. Yeah, Javi's actually best friends with Adam. He's been hanging out with him, like off screen.
I like to think so. It's
yeah.
So then Shauna hides her journal. I know she put it like high up so Javi couldn't reach it. Didn't think of anybody else. Just made sure Javi couldn't get it. Like,
I like you said it. Like Javi's like so short. Like he can't like grab a stool or anything. He's just gotta be like,
Why not?
That's so funny. Yeah.
But then later in the night, like, they did build up the wolf attack like again because they showed like Shauna holding like a wolf, which that was kind of a bit too coincidental. Like that was kind of weird.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Okay, yeah. That's cool.
I didn't notice it till the set. That was kind of cool. That's cool, but like, what a coincidence! You just happen to be holding like a wolf like statue thing.
Yeah.
But whatever. And then the end of like this plot. We see because I didn't notice this. The camera like pans up to like where Shauna hid her journal. And it shows that it's not there anymore.
Yeah, it was really dark, so like I paused and like looked closer at the TV to like try and see if the journal was there or not. And I'm like, I can't really tell. Oh, well, I guess I'll continue. And then the next shot was Jackie reading the journal. So I'm like, oh, okay.
And
I should have just.
Jackie's, again, we see that Jackie's reading the journal, and now she knows that Shauna not only is pregnant but has been sleeping with Jeff, and she probably knows like the length now and everything like that, which is even better type of thing. It's not like she knows, because Shauna probably, has been right.
Okay, when you said length, I was thinking about something else for a second because remember she hasn't slept with Jeff yet.
Yeah.
All right, never mind. I was making a joke.
Oh yeah, different. I went a different way. I thought when you said length, I thought you meant like amount of time they actually did sleep together. I thought.
No, I know that's what you meant, but I was just making a joke when you said length. I'm like fucking Jeff's length,
But yeah, so yeah, Jackie, obviously is heartbroken like reading this. And like we talked about off camera, I like to think that like Shauna wrote that entry in before the plane crash because it would really be bad timing if she wrote it after the plane crash.
Oh, speaking of bad timing, apparently my Amazon Prime student discount is over.
Oh, that's bad timing. So
yeah, I'm sad now. This episode gets an F- just for that.
But this review caused it.
Yeah, F-. The wolf attack was bad, and my Amazon Prime discount expired.
But yeah,
so thanks.
But this was an awesome reveal. They built up to this for a while, and it sets up like so many things. And now, like, I like that Jackie actually found out here because, like, you have like, there's a few episodes left in season 1 where like now you can like really build this into something, kind of test the relationship and friendship now between Jackie and Shauna type of thing now. So
yeah, like you said off camera, I was worried they were gonna wait till like episode 9 or 10 to like do this, or like maybe that would be like the season 1 like finale cliffhanger if Jackie finds out and we gotta wait till season 2. But no, I'm glad they waited. They like did it like early. Now we get a couple episodes to kind of see how they will like handle this.
And I'll say this now, like Jackie already isn't well liked in the group anyways, so like that's even interesting, because Shauna's always the one that like is able to kind of get like the group to kind of like Jackie again, so what would that kind of be like now? And
yeah,
to kind of give a hint, like there's a lot of things that Jackie like does that kind of is like caused by this type of thing. Like there's something that happens like later on that I thought happened before this that like I'm like, oh, because when I saw this scene again,
it makes more sense because of what Jackie read. Yeah, okay, that's interesting.
So like,
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it for the past stuff, huh?
Although, I just say I like the past up to the wolf attack. I like the past stuff for the most part.
I agree. It feels like the main focus was the past stuff. I mean, not to say that the stuff in the present wasn't important. We get a good amount in the present as well.
Especially too, like the biggest thing I liked obviously was the Shauna Jackie stuff, and I like.
Yeah, despite that not being that much of the runtime, I feel like I liked the Shauna and Jackie storyline this episode.
Do you think it was the perfect time to reveal it? Because obviously we talk about time, and I think it was just because, like,
Yeah, it feels like they didn't do it too early.
Yeah.
I feel like 7 episodes was like a good time to do it because now we have a couple episodes to see how that will like change their dynamic.
I like to. It didn't overshadow the story because I always thought it would have, considering the fact that you would think that would be like the main plot of like Jackie finding out, but I actually kind of liked that it was the background because it made it even more of a surprise that they actually went there type of thing, and everything like that. So
yeah, and again, I bitched about it so much. I like Thais' storyline until that point,
Yeah, definitely.
And then now we got the 2021 storyline. Mine's pretty short. Want me to just mention Misty's and
Well, probably.
Well, I guess I really can't because the Adam and the Kevin stuff is like after.
But the Misty stuff,
you talk
maybe
about...
Misty. I think the Misty stuff is like so separate from like everything else. You could probably.
Okay, yeah, I can talk about that. So, continuing where last episode was Misty kidnapped a journalist, and Misty's like spying on Natalie's room still, and she sees Kevin butt ass naked, still sleeping in the bed. She's like looking at his length, you know what I mean? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
And then, she hears what's her face in their basement screaming, like, "Hey, Misty, get over here, you dumb bitch!" And then Misty's like, "I wish I could ignore you."
She got like music,
and then she goes,
she had like music blasting too, so like she couldn't.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Again, this makes me feel like Misty has like done this a few times. Like Misty might actually just be like a serial killer.
I have noticed, by the way, this was like the first like episode that had like music in it, like that was like not like music they put in. Like it's clearly like it's like popular songs. I don't think they've had that really before, so this was kind of cool.
Okay, I didn't notice that. But later on, Misty goes into the basement, takes the tape off the lady's face, and basically accuses her of being the one to blackmail them and killing Travis. I was really surprised that this journalist like kind of spilled the beans pretty quickly.
Yeah, that
she said that she was hired by Thaisa to like try to get everyone to like see if anyone will like talk during her campaign.
This is kind of weird because I will say this: they don't like Misty doesn't really confront Thaisa on it or anything like that. So
right, well, I see. I was under the assumption Misty thinks she's bullshitting.
Right.
And then so this lady's being pretty calm. She mentions that like, this isn't the first time I've been kidnapped, and that was kind of a bad poor choice of words because Misty brings that back, turns that around on her later.
Yeah.
And she's saying how I didn't kill Travis. I did talk to him because like everyone else, I was trying to see if any of the Yellowjackets would speak about what happened during Thais' election. But like after Travis died, I did a bit of research on him and noticed that like his bank account was like closed shortly before he died.
Yeah.
Which is like really suspicious that like whoever killed him stole all of his money, which was actually kind of hinted at because I think they like when they were like Natalie and Misty were looking at his house, they noticed like bank statements like in his trash.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
I do like this too. Cause, like obviously, because obviously I've just dealt with a death like recently. Like obviously, you pretty much want to close out someone's bank account like right away, but like you don't typically do it like in that short of time when someone passes. It's usually like about kind of like a week or so later after they've kind of had the funeral services and everything like that.
Right? Yeah. Like, well, she says it was like done like right away. Yeah. And it feels like for Travis, from what it looks like, he didn't really have any family.
Yeah.
So it'd be really weird that like someone like closed out his bank account that quickly. Yeah.
And also like they showed earlier like when Natalie and Misty went to his house, like he had like the Jack Daniels like bottle, I think, if I'm correct, and like because Misty points that out and everything like that. That's probably, as we see, that tied in pretty nicely.
Well, Natalie finding Travis was kind of like seen as a big deal because Misty mentioned he's been kind of like living off the grid.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, his bank account closing like that quickly is definitely suspicious. Fucking poor Javi. He's his brother. He's nowhere to be seen. Yeah, so I mean, obviously that's another case of like, it's probably like Javi might be dead, or at the very least he's not close with his brother anymore.
Just chilling. Yeah, he could just be chilling.
Yeah, Javi's the one who fucking killed Travis.
I mean, if you notice,
I said as a joke. I said that as a joke. If he actually is, that's gonna be crazy.
I mean, if you notice, like Javi, I don't think Javi's got any like PTSD or anything like that because he's never around doing any of this stuff. So yeah.
I know, right? Javi misses all the important shit. No, yeah, he's just chilling.
I like the thing too.
Vibing.
Javi comes back and he's just like right after something just happened, he's just like, did I miss something?
Yeah, I know,
or
right?
He's like upset. He's like, oh man, I always miss all the good stuff. Like after like a tragic thing just happened, like.
Fucking like the Reds said in season 8, where they're like, "Hey, you ever notice the Blues have like a lot more stuff going on than us?"
Yeah.
It's like similar thing. Javi's like, "Hey, have you guys ever noticed that like Shauna and Thaisa have like way more stuff happening to them?"
He says that's like the background characters like too, like be awesome.
And they don't say anything because they can't speak. They're just background characters.
Yeah.
So that is interesting that this reporter is like looking into Travis.
Yeah.
So it seems like she's like looking into this stuff more than Thaisa has like hired her to do.
Yeah.
So it seems like Thaisa hired her to like do certain things, but now she's kind of like doing a bit more than she was hired to do. Now it seems like even though she was hired to like quote unquote look into the Yellowjackets, now she's like actually looking into the Yellowjackets.
Yeah.
And she asks Misty like, "Hey, let's team up. We'll find out who killed Travis." And then Misty's like, "Oh yeah, well, what will I do once I let you go?" And she was like, "Oh, you just go about your business." And then Misty says, "So those other people who kidnapped you, what happened to them?"
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the lady said like, "Oh, they just went back to their lives." And Misty was like, okay, sure."
Yeah, because who would buy that? Like,
yeah.
But I like that, and I like too that Misty didn't like freak out when she realized like, the reporter wasn't like the blackmailer. Like she didn't go, "Oh fuck." Like she didn't really see. I don't think she cared at all. Actually, she was just like,
yeah. They both did a pretty good job like keeping their poker faces.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like Misty isn't fully buying that this lady didn't kill Travis.
Right.
Like I think maybe she's doubting it a little bit, but I think Misty still believes that this lady's behind everything.
Yeah, especially too because like it's suspicious she would mention that like his bank account's been cleared when like that's not information that anybody else knows. So
yeah,
it's cool.
So a little bit later, Misty is putting because we saw earlier that Misty like stole a bunch of medicine from her job.
Yeah.
And now she's like putting, injecting it into like chocolates. And Misty, the fucking psycho, starts saying how she knows that this lady, like her dad is in a retirement home down in Florida. He's down by me. I know him. He's a personal friend. I used to work in a retirement home. Imagine he's at the retirement home I used to work at.
That'd be funny.
And then And then she's like, "Oh, you know what? This guy will be so happy that we found out that Misty called like the helper who works with this lady's dad, and Misty's like, "Oh, sweet girl, not very bright."
Yeah.
Because this lady mentioned that this guy's favorite type of chocolate. So Misty says like, "Oh, he's gonna be so happy when his sweet little daughter sends him his favorite chocolate, and then he'll die suspiciously of this medicine."
Yeah.
And this lady, you can definitely tell from her eyes, she's starting to get kind of nervous, but like she's keeping a pretty good like poker face still. And then she's being honest. She's like, or as honest as far as I know, she's like, "Look, I didn't kill Travis. I got hired by Thaisa. That's it." And then Misty is like, "Well, I'm gonna send these to the post office in the morning. Good night."
Yeah.
Yeah, Misty's fucked up because when Misty was like threatening her earlier, like mentioning she has ways of making her talk, I thought she was gonna like torture her. It's like, nah, she's gonna fucking murder all of her friends and family. It's like, damn.
Yeah, that's even worse, especially too because like she's gonna keep it alive to know about it type of thing too, and like can't do anything about
and it's again like this dad is he's like a helpless old guy in a retirement home. He has no idea what's happening.
You don't know that. He could have a different life that you don't know about. So
yeah, the dad is the one who killed Travis.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked this though. I liked how it showed how twisted Misty was and everything like that. It just makes Misty comes off like a more of a likable character that you'd want to like not root behind, but like
I'm really rooting for Misty to murder a bunch of old
but
people.
it makes her character.
Well, like I was complaining about earlier, Misty being a psycho from the beginning, I think is fine. Like I think that's like been established pretty well, and like it's interesting to see how like Misty handles all this stuff because she's always been a psycho.
Yeah.
Whereas again with the Thaisa stuff, I really don't like that she's always had the sleepwalking issue, and it's not a result of her being in the woods.
Definitely.
So like two examples of like I like Misty's always been a psycho. Don't like that Thaisa's always had these mental issues.
All right, but let's talk about like everything that like Thaisa, Shauna, and Thaisa were doing. Like, well, all of this supposedly was going. Well, I guess so because like we saw that Misty was watching the camera, so I guess it was all going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Shauna shows up, and. Well, first it shows all the stuff with, like, Thaisa, like her dealing with the fact that, like, she's been haunted her son. I like that doing this, like, she's dealing with her own stuff, and, like, now he's like, she's, like, texting her, like, where are you? Like, we need you here, like, now. It's just, like,
And I was worried Thaisa's gonna, like, hide this. That, like, she's been, like, traumatizing her son and wasn't gonna do anything about it. But, like, I think it makes sense that this episode doesn't really deal with that because of, like, the blackmailing thing is happening, like, right now. She doesn't really have time.
Yeah.
So she's just kind of like, and she apparently was like biting into her hand super hard, and she's like trying to cover that up.
And then Shauna, Thaisa go over, and I do like because when they had like a big plan that they were gonna put like a GPS tracker in it and everything like that. I do like that like you could definitely tell this is the first time they do this because it'd be weird if they got this like perfect. You could definitely tell the rookies type of thing. It's not like, Breaking Bad type of thing. I know Walt was pretty, rookie, but like...
Yeah, well, Breaking Bad, like, towards the end, like, season 1, it was definitely kind of like this.
Yeah, so I like, they don't really know how to go about this, because they didn't think... They thought the cast was going to have, like, a bigger hole in it, so,
Yeah, when Shauna, like, saw how much, like, 50 grand was, she was like, oh, I thought that would, like, fill up the whole bag.
Yeah. So they put other stuff in it to... make it look like it's more, so that way they have to dig through it and they can hide the tracker easily. Basically, I just liked how they acted. I liked they didn't really they didn't really have a plan of how they were going to even deal with tracking this guy. I just thought it was pretty natural because, like, again, they've never really done anything like this before, so I thought all of that made sense. Natalie's the one that's going to make the drop off, which I think makes sense since I think Natalie's been the one it seems like she's the one dealing with the plot, but I think Natalie's been the one like dealing with this guy for the most part. So it can make sense that she's gonna make the drop off for the most part. And she drives Thais' car, and I thought they did a funny joke where like she didn't even know how to start Thais' car, which was pretty funny. So that was cool. And then Natalie makes the drop off, and during this, Thais and Shauna are having a conversation. And, they're talking. We find Thaisa reveals to Shauna that she funded for her rehab. And Shauna's not happy about this, because this is kind of giving her more of a reason to, like, slip, because, like, shows that, like, she has, like, a way for her rehab to be funded, which is pretty logical to say that.
Yeah, and to be fair, she's not wrong, because, when Natalie was, like, in jail, like, she immediately went to Thaisa to, like, bust her out and, like, was, like, taking her for granted.
Yeah. And then, I do like Thaisa's reasoning because she mentioned, that, she doesn't really have many people. And she's also kind of the reason why they survive, like, in the wilderness all that time. I want to...
Yeah, see, when Thaisa mentioned, like, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Natalie, I am curious about that because, your assumption is, like, oh, she means, like, the hunting.
Yeah.
But, like, the way she says it, it feels like she's talking about, like, something more, like, specific.
Definitely.
Like, something happens later on that, like, they're only alive because Natalie, like, saved their lives.
And again, I still don't know either, so, like, that hasn't been revealed yet.
And I do like what she says of, like, I'm also doing it for me because I would feel really bad of, like, because I have my wife and son, you have Jeff and your kid.
Yeah.
And even though it's not perfect, like, we definitely, like, our lives are not great, like, at least we have some people, Like, Natalie doesn't have anybody.
And then,
well, she says... She had Travis, and that was a shit show. And now that Travis is gone, she has, like, less than nothing.
And then Shauna, and then Thais is like, well, ask Shauna, like, what happens if we don't step in? And Shauna's just like, head shrug emoji type of thing.
Oh, yeah. That was my thing, because I was like, you mentioned, like, we have people in our family where it's, like, we similar thing, where it's kind of, like, you don't want to support them, because, like, similar kind of, like, burnout with them. But, like, Shauna is like, damn. Because Thais was like, she saved her lives and she doesn't have anybody. And, like, I don't know, it came off as so, like, neutral. If Shauna, like, she came off as, like, really not giving a shit.
Definitely.
Well, like, Shauna, when Thaisa said, like, she's going to die if we don't do anything to help her. If Shauna was, like, kind of sad, she was like, yeah, but, like, this and that. Or, like, she's got to work it out on her own. And, like, there's only so much we can do. Shauna legit, like you said... It's kind of like it was almost comedic.
Yeah.
She was just like Natalie's gonna get herself killed, and Shauna was like, it do be like that sometimes.
Right. Not saying that, so if it gets to the point where you do it enough, you don't sometimes feel that way, but it's like I don't think you ever like mean it. Like I think Shauna like meant it here, type of thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like with people in our family, like we get that burnout. But, like, you don't really, like, like, you still care, like, you don't ever, like, fully want them to, like, die.
Yeah.
Shauna here, like, that's what I mean. Like, Shauna fully came off as, like, if Natalie dies, I'm gonna fucking sleep like a baby. I don't give a shit.
So then, Natalie comes in. It would have been funny if Natalie came in, like, right when that question got asked. That would have been awesome.
I know, right?
And then, we find out that she scored some booze. She said it was, like, from the guy off the block. I think we saw him, like, earlier, so that's cool.
Yeah.
And they're just waiting.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention this. When Natalie showed up at the beginning with the $50,000, Shauna was late, and Shauna was like, "Hey, some of us have families."
Yeah, that was.
And then Natalie like gave her a look, and Shauna was like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean it like that." When she said sorry, I didn't mean it like that, it came off as super fake.
Definitely.
I mean, she could have like actually just not been thinking, but when she apologized, she just came off as like I don't give a fuck.
Right. And then I liked this because they kind of start to like catch up a little bit. Like, oh, we haven't talked for a while. What's going on with everyone's lives? And I like that they're like kind of like Shauna and Thaisa don't really want to talk about like their plots right now. Like they kind of just like passive aggressive about it. Natalie like full on just talks about her plot lines, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. Because she's like, well, I've been fucking Kevin, whatever his last name is. and they're all kind of like, "Oh my god, the goth kid."
Yeah.
Because obviously they weren't close with him, so they probably just like remember him as that.
Yeah.
They probably don't
Makes
like
sense.
know he's like nowadays. And then Natalie is like, "Yeah, well, he's like a cop now. He's like, like has 2 kids and everything."
I thought that was
so
cool.
like
Um,
she's kind of like bragging about him in a way.
I feel like too. This kind of made a question like, does she actually genuinely like Kevin or not, type of thing? Because now it's like not really been,
Yeah, but like what happens later in the episode kind of makes me feel like not really.
Yeah. So then, the GPS tracker goes off, and they start to chase after it. But Sean has been drinking a little too much, so like Thais is gonna drive instead. And they do a decent little car chase with the person, and then eventually like a pickup truck, not a pickup truck, like a UPS like moving truck type of thing gets in their way, and they get out of the car, and Natalie holds the guy at gunpoint, pulls the driver out, and
Tyson and Shauna didn't know Natalie had a gun on her.
did we? I don't think we did. I think that was a reveal.
No, we didn't know either, but like they didn't know either, so they were like, "Oh my god, Natalie, fucking put the gun down." And as we find out later, it's actually Kevin's gun, which is extra fucked up. So the implication is that like Natalie slept with Kevin just to like steal his gun while he was sleeping.
Ooh, you know what? Now that you just said that, yeah, now I can see. Yeah, that's fucked. I feel bad for Kevin actually. Like,
well, because last episode, like in the past, Natalie mentions that like sleeping with someone like is important to her. She doesn't like it's not something she just like does.
yeah.
And then it cuts to her sleeping with Kevin. So I mentioned in the previous review that like I'm curious if that's supposed to be like she still feels that way. So sleeping with Kevin like is still something special, or if it's supposed to show like how far Natalie has fallen.
Yeah.
Or it used to be something special to her, but now she just like does it for whatever reason.
Well, there was a reason here, just not a good one. So.
Oh yeah, I mean like it's not like a special reason. It's like a means to an end.
Yeah. So she holds the trucker at gunpoint, thinking he's the blackmailer. But then the blackmailer comes out like of the back, and there's a big chase scene that happens.
Through like a warehouse, and it makes sense they're in this warehouse because it was like a delivery truck kind of thing,
yeah.
And this person seems like he just slipped in.
Yeah, I think,
and obviously they got to the warehouse and then he like booked
I think
it.
I asked if you think that. I'll ask you again. Do you think this guy's like part of it? Do you think type of thing, or do you think this was just a coincidence type of thing? Like,
I think it was a coincidence because I think it was a coincidence. It seems like this like blackmailer just like hopped on this truck and like booked it.
So then they have Shauna like go around and like basically cut this guy off like at the end of the warehouse, so that way he won't have a way to escape. And Thaisa,
and that makes me suspicious. So I'll wait till the end to say it, but like I have like 2 theories on who this guy is.
And then Thaisa and Natalie are chasing down this guy. I will say this. Whoever the blackmailer reveals to be, this clearly was a stunt person, actor-wise, that was actually playing the blackmailer here. So,
yeah. And also, I like the music that was playing during the chase.
It was solid. It was good. And then, so they're chasing this guy down. At one point, Thaisa tackles him, and at one point, he crashes and burns like pretty bad. Not injury-wise, but like pretty epically fairly-wise. And he gets like a bunch of glitter stuck to him.
This guy, like, Tyson tackles him, and then he like elbows the shit out of her, and like she like is just like bleeding pretty bad out of her nose. Yeah. And then like I do like that because like, so it wasn't just like he stumbled into the glitter. Like, what a coincidence! Tyson tackled him. Yeah. He like elbowed her, and then he kind of like very quickly tried to like scramble to get up, before she could like tackle him again. Right.
And we just
and then like that's what caused him to like bump into the glitter.
Yeah, and the glitter is going to be important because that's going to be it's a big thing.
Although a little bit of a coincidence, like what are the odds the glitter happened to be there?
It is a warehouse though, so it's like whatever.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, like even if it wasn't glitter, like I can buy that like something would like spill onto him.
Yeah, but the glitter's gonna be important later on.
Yeah, cool. Because they even mentioned later, like, okay, we gotta find some asshole with glitter on.
Yeah. So then the guy escapes.
Outside.
Yeah, and we don't see him anymore. Shauna pulls up, and I think we actually see the guy pull away, and we see that like he just took the money, like he completely left because there was a bag that they had this money in, and
you forgot a pretty important scene.
What was the important scene? Oh, Natalie almost shoots this guy, she doesn't. I think Taissa stops him, so like messes up a shot like one of the times.
Oh yeah, Natalie was about to shoot this guy as he was driving away, and then Taissa like tackled her, like, no, don't shoot him.
Yeah, and then we see that the guy got away with the GP, like, well, not with the GPS, but like he ditched the GPS and everything like that, and just got away with the money. So, and now now the girls are worried this time around that not only now does he has the money, but now they know that they're onto him, so he might just like reveal their story anyways, now that he knows that like they're onto him, type of thing. And Natalie wants to deal with this still, because she wants to avenge like Travis's death and everything like that. And Thais is even like telling them like, this could very well be unrelated to Travis, type of thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to point out. I'm like, yeah, this, because as we the audience knows, the lady in the tree thing and the journalist aren't related to the blackmailing or the Travis death, as far as we know.
Yeah. Do you think it is related?
Huh?
Do you think it is related? Or do you want to wait until like you talk about that later on?
I don't know. The journalist, I don't know. But anyway, the assumption now is that they're unrelated.
Yeah. So like
I'm glad they're kind of considering that as well. That like all these things may not be connected.
Yeah, and then Natalie like tells Shauna to pull over, and she does a really good speech. I thought the actress did a really good job here, where she's like very distraught, saying like, I know Travis didn't kill himself, and she talks about like how I don't really have much anymore, and she says like that I'm mentally not okay, and she talks about how you guys act like you guys are okay with your perfect lie, but you guys obviously clearly are okay. You're clearly shook up about what happened out there, but I'm gonna be the one that gets like I'm gonna find out what happened to Travis and everything like that, which I liked
and honestly that's kind of why I think Natalie's my favorite, because like she's fucked up, at least she kind of owns it,
So
and she brings up a good point, like you guys are just as fucked up as me, you're just like better at hiding
it. Definitely.
And it was tough to see her cry, like she's obviously like very like broken up about what happened with Travis.
Overall,
also, I do like that Sean and Taissa are like, Sean and Taissa like are giving Natalie shit about like the gun. Like, whoa, you like pulled a gun on him? Like, what if you actually shot him? We'd all be going away for murder. And then I like Natalie's response where she says like, we've all done a lot worse, which that's obviously raises some questions.
Mm-hmm.
Where basically Natalie's like, even if I killed the guy, like, what we've done is worse than that, which makes me question what happened.
Yeah.
And then Shauna says like, speak for yourself. So that makes me wonder, okay, so like whatever happened out there, like maybe it was different for other people. Like maybe Natalie did, or like maybe Shauna's just in denial.
Yeah, definitely.
Like whatever they get out there, Shauna's just like being like, nah, you're full of shit. Like, you might have done some stuff that's worse than murder, but I didn't.
Yeah, or like, Sean is like, like you said, just like not really dealing with it type of thing, or just, putting it away type of thing.
Because, I mean, like, if we do find out later they were full on, like, cannibalizing people, then, like, Shauna, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, oh, yeah, we killed and ate people, but, like, murdering someone? Nah, we wouldn't do that. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But anyhow, I think what'd you think overall, because everything else is, you're going to be doing the rest of the talking. What did you think of, like, this plot?
I love this plot line. Again, there wasn't really, like, a big, like, butt with the wolf thing. This was really solid all the way through. I really liked Sean and Taissa talking, Natalie speaking with them, like, they're kind of, like, the group dynamic. because they have all been like separated for the last few episodes. I like all of them working together. Like you said, I like how Shauna and Taissa don't want to talk about their storylines, but Natalie's kind of just like, yeah by the way, I've been like screwing Kevin.
It's such as if like Taissa and Natalie just typed out like her plot line, and just handed them the script just to her stuff, pretty much, type of thing.
Yeah. And I like how Natalie kind of broke off from the group towards the end, and like, you know, she's like crying.
Yeah.
With this guy, I'm gonna make a prediction.
Okay.
I feel like he's either Adam or Jeff, because one, those are like the only two like male characters in the show.
Yeah, they made it pretty clear that there was a male when you know, during the chase scene and everything like that.
And also because you mentioned Shauna, so Natalie and Taissa chased after this guy. So this guy saw Taissa and Natalie. Shauna like was in the car and like drove around the corner to try to cut him off. So this guy didn't see Shauna.
Yeah.
So it makes me think it's someone that like would recognize Shauna specifically.
Especially too, I don't really think Shauna got a good look at this guy really either. So
yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, the guy, it seems like he was wearing a mask. But still. And also, whoever this was obviously was out all night. You know, like they weren't like just at home chilling, watching Netflix. When Shauna gets home, Adam is there, and he says he's been there for a few hours, but like he could just be lying.
Yeah.
And as we know, Jeff like made an excuse that like he's gonna like go like do store inventory or whatever, or like they have a delivery coming. But like obviously he was like lying. It was like the book club lie. So both Adam and Jeff were out all night. Adam owns like an auto shop, so he very could have easily just grabbed like a car that no one would recognize. And it obviously it's very suspicious that Adam was like so interested in Shauna.
Yeah. And
like he just happened to be at that hotel like when Shauna saw Jeff. And like you pointed out, he could have just been like faking the car crash. Like he could have just like put the brakes on, causing Shauna to like crash into him.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's like not taking no for an answer here when Shauna's like telling him to fuck off. He does not take no for an answer. Which comes off as really creepy.
And I mean, I'll talk about it too. Like this time around, the delivery of his lines felt like he was hiding something, like he was villainous this time around, type of thing.
Yeah, but with Jeff, I feel like there's less reasons for him because, like, well, why would he blackmail a Yellowjackets if he's married to a Yellowjacket?
Yeah.
But you mentioned in a previous, you asked me if Shauna got like a blackmail text. I thought she did, but like maybe she didn't get one. Like maybe it was just Taissa and Natalie that got it.
Yeah.
Which would make more sense if it is Jeff. He wouldn't send the blackmail text to his wife, obviously.
Yeah.
Like that would still be weird because like you figure like okay they would still probably talk with Shauna.
Yeah. I was thinking too. They could do like he could do *6 like 7 or like get a burner phone or something to like send Shauna like a text or something. So
true. Yeah, he's got a burner phone, and I thought it was really suspicious how when he got home he like immediately like stripped and took a shower.
Yeah.
So I was like, obviously this guy got covered in glitter. And like you know when Shauna first got home, Adam was already there. So, like, if Adam might not have had time to, like, change.
Yeah.
So, like it feels like, based on evidence, it's leaning more towards Adam than Jeff.
Definitely.
But because of that, it's making me feel like it's Jeff, not Adam. Like, they're going to do, like, Adam's, like, a red herring.
Yeah.
So, again, basically, point is, main suspects are Adam and Jeff. If we're going by evidence, I feel like it's Adam. But, like, my gut is telling me that, like, that Adam is, like, it's going to be, like, a twist and it's actually Jeff.
But I think you said that, like, you know, if it's either or, you wouldn't, depending on, like, the reason and stuff, you wouldn't complain.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, I would be fine with either. It depends on execution, you know?
Yeah.
Like it could be really good for either of them, but it could be really stupid for either of them. You know, so we got to wait and see.
What I do like about this is if it's revealed it's Jeff, and that's like, you know, that's his lie of, instead of cheating, I like that because it makes.
Right, because I did mention I think they're gonna do like a bait and switch, like Jeff isn't actually cheating.
But like I like that like he's not a complete goody two shoes. Like his lies, like his lies is even. You could make the argument is just as bad or worse than like Shauna's type of thing.
Yeah,
and
that'd be funny. Yeah.
And it's what causes
like,
Shauna to even like date Adam and cheat on him to begin with. So like I like that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then
I
questions.
just have to wait and see. But yeah, I think the main suspects are Adam and Jeff. I'd be genuinely surprised if it was someone else.
And it makes you question too. Like, is Jeff? If it is Jeff, is he bullshitting? Like, does he actually know what happened, or did he just do it like bullshitting just to get money, type of thing?
Yeah. Well, that makes me curious because we saw previously like Callie like broke into her mom's closet and like stole the Jackie's outfit. Mm-hmm. So that makes me think like, okay, so clearly Shauna's stuff isn't like as easy to get into as she likes to think.
Yeah.
And because we saw at the end of episode 1, Shauna still has like the journals.
Yeah.
So like it could very well be like Jeff like stole like Shauna's journals. That'd be funny because obviously this episode in the past, Jackie stole Shauna's journal. So Shauna just keeps getting her shit stolen.
Yeah.
Callie stole the outfit. Jackie stole the journal. Jeff stole the journal. Shauna is just really bad at hiding secrets.
But with Adam though, like he could have gotten the information from like one of the other crew members or whatever that were on the plane or like.
Oh, you know what? Oh, I just realized Adam was hiding in the closet, while from Jeff,
yeah.
And like so I'm like, Adam was in there for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
He could have found the journal and like took off with him.
Especially too, because like when Shauna mentioned like she's gonna like make breakfast and everything like that, like. Wait till like you hear water start running. Like, there's a lot of time.
And then,
huh?
Yeah. And Shauna was like, "I'm gonna go make breakfast. When you hear water, then you leave." So like he was in the room by himself for a little while.
So it works.
So I mean, this is so funny, because obviously you know what happens. I don't. So like I could be like completely right, hitting on all cylinders, or I could be just spewing bullshit.
And I think you know what I'm doing though. I'm giving you reasons to why it could be both of them, type of thing.
Right. So again, you could be in your head, be like, oh, this fucking idiot. He has no clue what's happening.
Kind of like the thing I did with the Thaisa thing, like in episode 5, I think it was.
Right, you're like, oh, it's someone Thaisa knows really well.
Not thinking, it was.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, it's got to be like Van then. It's like, nope, it's fucking Thaisa herself.
So I only think that we kind of talked about the Shauna plot mainly just based off this conversation, kind of like So the last thing is just what the rest of the stuff with.
Well, I guess we should be more clear. So yeah, Adam showed up at the end.
Yeah.
Shauna was pissed. Like, hey, what if my wife and kid are my wife and kid, my husband and daughter were here? And he's like, I didn't see any cars, so I took a risk.
Yep.
And he's like, fuck. Shauna's like, fuck off, like telling him like scram. And Adam even says like, I'm a little less than a stalker. Like he fully acknowledges what he's doing is very stalkerish.
I do like that's fun. I mean, this is a 2.5 Men thing, because that's Shauna, that actress's character in 2.5.
Yeah, Rose was like a stalker. Yeah, for Charlie. And when Shauna's like tries to go into the house, Adam like full on grabs her and like pulls her in. Like he does not let her leave.
Right. That's what.
And Adam is like you like the danger, you like causing chaos. And then it cuts to them like making out and like going into the house to have sex. I'm like, Shauna, if that turns you on, you have no standards.
Right. And again, they clearly tried to like really set it up that Adam was the blackmailer based off this scene right here, type of thing. Right.
He was coming off as really villainous, and that's kind of why it was making me think he's a red herring.
Yeah. I did like in my notes because I write notes for the episode. I wrote Adam showing up at a bad time as usual, because that's been AJ and I's whole joke.
Oh yeah, if Adam isn't the blackmailer, he has really shitty time. So maybe he isn't the blackmailer just so we continue the trend that he is bad time.
That'd be awesome.
Like if he was the blackmailer, it would make sense he would go to check on Shauna right after.
Yeah.
But if he isn't, imagine the night all this shit happens, he decides to go check on Shauna.
Right. Or like You know, what bad timing to have, like, a blackmailer out there at the time he starts seeing Shauna and everything like that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, wow, what are the odds all this is happening?
Not just then, like, in this window of, like, time in general type of thing. Like,
oh, yeah. Like Shauna's been living a normal life for decades, and all of a sudden this Adam guy shows up at the same time as the blackmailer.
it's like such shitty timing. Like,
yeah, I know, right? Literally, Adam was waiting outside, and Sean was like, "Adam, get out of here!"
Yeah, it'd be funny too.
Yeah,
but
they go into the house to make the fondue, make the love, quote unquote.
I do have to ask a question though. Because Adam, if Adam has glitter on him, wouldn't the glitter come off like, unless he wiped himself down very quickly? Wouldn't the glitter come off when they're making the font? I guess.
Well, my assumption was that he like showered beforehand. Well, that's why I was saying I was leaning more towards Jeff because Jeff got home like hours later, so he very easily could have changed clothes and then like showered. Well, because he was like, I'm gonna go take a shower, so to get the glitter off. Adam, from what it seems like, was already there for a while when Shauna got home. We don't know how long Shauna was with Taissa though.
Yeah.
But, if Shauna was with Taissa for a little while, he very easily could have, changed clothes and stuff.
Definitely.
But, Jeff had a bigger time window to, get all the glitter off.
Yeah.
Although, he left his clothes on the ground. If Shauna notices he has glitter on his clothes, he's a fucking dumbass.
Right.
Because he had all night to change his clothes, if he didn't change his clothes, he's a fucking idiot.
Go to a gas station or buy new ones or something like that.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Yeah, but anyway, so I mean, they're probably gonna wait on the reveal of the glitter man.
Right.
There's no way Shauna's gonna look at the clothes and be like, "Oh my god, he has glitter on him." There's no way that happens.
I feel like they'll wait a while too because they've done a lot of big reveals the past a couple of episodes.
Right. They'll probably hold off on it for I don't know, probably the season finale. They'll probably reveal
that seems
who
like
it
a
is.
good time.
Yeah. And yeah, the last plot is Natalie's. She sneaks back into her room next to Kevin. A little while later, Kevin wakes up and checks his gun and notices that bullets are missing.
Yeah. And
Natalie pretends to wake up, and Kevin is like, "Did you fuck with my gun?"
I don't think she was pretending. Because some time went by between.
Oh, so she actually went back to sleep. Okay. And Kevin's like, "I need to have all of my rounds present and accounted for. I can't just have bullets missing." Which is a good point. I'm kind of surprised Natalie didn't think of that that Kevin would have noticed that his bullets were missing.
Right. I do like the reason that they gave too. I didn't really know that about cops. So when he said that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess I work in criminal justice and I was an 911 operator. So for me that's kind of common knowledge.
But I didn't know.
But I guess for the average person.
Yeah.
But still, you figure she would have she would have thought that Kevin would have noticed anyway. Even if he didn't have to have it accounted for. And the reason she came up with was dumb. He's like, "Did you commit any crimes?" And he's like, "No, I ran to the store and I kept the gun with me for safety and I accidentally fired it off in the park."
Right.
And I like how Kevin didn't just accept that answer. He's like, "Okay, well, you got to bring me to the park and show me where you fired the gun."
And it makes sense that he doesn't too because he knows her from the past and everything like that too. So.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, I don't remember which park," and he's like, "Okay, I don't believe you. I think you're full of shit. So tell me straight up, did you go and commit a crime?"
Yeah.
And then Natalie just is fucking vicious. She's like, "Look, this whole high school crush thing you had on me was cute, but it's kind of wearing off."
Yeah, this was pretty vicious. I felt bad for Kevin, we talked about off air.
Yeah, and he was 100% right to be like, "You know what? Fuck you, Natalie," and just leave.
Yeah. Especially too, because
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have even. If I were him, I wouldn't have even left. I would have been like, "Okay, yeah, it doesn't solve anything. I'm gonna bring you in for questioning because you fucking stole a cop's gun."
I don't know, maybe because too he feels like he's gonna be at fault for it because he left his gun out on the table type of thing. So
yeah, so I guess he's like, "Look, I'm at fault, so I guess I'll just drop it." But yeah,
yeah, because I think you're supposed to. I think. I mean, I don't know, but like I assume. You worked. I assume you're probably not supposed to have your gun just out. Like you're probably supposed to lock it up or like do something. Like you can't just have it laid out.
Yeah, you're not supposed to just like have it out and about. Yeah, especially if you're just sleeping with like a random person. Yeah,
Especially in like this location that they were at too. Like it's not like a a great location. It's like a cheap motel type of place. So
yeah. So I guess he kind of just took off because I guess he was also like emotional. Like he obviously was like very hurt by what Natalie said.
yeah. So I can kind of buy that. I felt bad for him though, just because Kevin's actually like
A decent guy.
yeah.
And like he very clearly had sympathy for Natalie, like when she was having like a little PTSD thing at the soccer game. He was like, "Look, I don't think you're crazy, I think you're just like been through a lot,
Yeah. And he looked into like, Travis is like
Travis Ford.
yeah.
Yeah, so I really feel bad. And like I said, I'm pretty sure Natalie just slept with him to get the gun,
And he even funny thing is, I think he was catching on to it, but then like this scene, like the stuff with like the soccer game happened, and like I think he was like, oh maybe there's something to this, and then like this like confirmed it for him type of thing,
Yeah.
So I felt bad for.
Yeah, I feel really bad for him. And from the look at the end, Natalie feels I don't know how Natalie feels about this. If she like gives a shit or if she feels kind of bad for what she's doing.
Yeah, the thing is,
because it does kind of seem like Natalie like went like really started insulting him like when she started getting pressured, like she might have just like said all that stuff because like she felt like cornered.
Right. I also think too, because she's feeling emotional about like Travis's death now type of thing too. So maybe she doesn't want to get close.
Yeah,
anyway.
which like doesn't excuse it. Like obviously she's still very fucked up for doing that.
Yeah, I do remember this scene happened. By the way. I forgot it was for the gun reason. I thought like, because I thought he saw like Natalie like stole the file. I thought that's why he flipped out at first, but I actually like that he flipped out here for the gun thing because I don't think he could get in trouble for this. So that's why I think it makes more sense for him.
And it's also very like he's like, did you go and commit a crime with my gun?
Yeah.
Like if he doesn't know what happened. For all he knows, she went to go fucking rob a liquor store.
Yeah. I mean, what she did was worse, honestly. So.
Yeah, she almost fucking murdered a guy with his gun. Yeah. Imagine if she actually pulled the trigger and killed the blackmailer.
Yeah, so. But yeah, I felt bad for Kevin, so. Well, Kevin.
Yeah. And, that's, we already talked about, like, the actual ending for the episode, and then, that's it. I give this one a B+. I think the wolf thing kind of brings it down. It would have been an A- if the wolf attack was, like, not there.
Yeah, what sucked about it too was like we got like a lot of revelations we wanted, like the Jackie finding out about like Shauna's thing. We got like plots together with like the Misty stuff was good. Like we got to see all the main characters like Shauna, Thaisa, and Natalie have a plot together in the present, which was what we've wanted for a while. And the Travis Natalie stuff was good, but again, sometimes it's about how you finish Also, the wolf scene's the last scene of the whole episode too, which like
right. So I kind of like soured it a bit. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm kind of glad we have a death. I mean, I know it's fucked up as that is. Like kind of showing like okay, like yeah, they're out in the woods. Like it's dangerous. Like someone aside for because everyone's been like pretty safe for the last couple episodes.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we kind of had someone like bite the dust.
Yep.
And I like Fan. She was a decent character, so having someone like we care about die. If it was one of like the two extras who died, I wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, and that part makes more sense for like Thaisa's PTSD
her
for like
story.
the wolf type of thing. So
yeah, but I give it a B+. What about you?
Yeah, probably B+. I didn't love obviously like the wolf attack really brings it down, like you said.
Yeah.
So,
but that's pretty much it. This went for about 2 hours. That's about right. It seems like.
Yeah. We wanted to do an hour and a half, but we spent a lot of time talking about the wolf attack too. I think that's what it was. So
right, which like I didn't plan on it, but like it really that was like a big issue I had with
it. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Anything you want to plug or promote before we end this video off?
Putz Pause. I haven't really done anything on it, but that's my channel.
Yeah. And then obviously for me, you can check out Wrestling Fortune 44. We're gonna be doing another episode of GM, and then Chris and I owe you an aftershock. We figured we wait till the next PLE for WWE ends, so we'll do it then. And then on the top.
We're doing GM tomorrow, so be on the lookout for
Yeah,
that.
PLE. It's the second PLE week. So,
Yeah.
And then as for me, this channel we're gonna do more Yellowjackets, and then we're gonna do other stuff afterwards. I'm not exactly sure yet. I think it's gonna be OVB season 8, and then something else. And then, by the way, I will say this in a weird way. What the Wolf Attack kind of reminded me of was, but I was more pissed about that, like not getting nothing from the director, not knowing there was gonna be more to it, like seasons 9 and 10 in OVB, like getting nothing.
Oh yeah. That we didn't really get anything from the director in 7 and 8. Yeah, I do agree. That was definitely a fault. We'll definitely talk about that in season 8.
I'm just saying that, just kind of make that comparison. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, and we will talk to you guys later.
Bye.